strong martial law with the tanks and everything, the brigade. I would like to reach for my rifle and have one at my disposal. Sometimes that's not always possible. So a knife is simple and effective. In some cases, more so. Just go to a gas station and pick up a weapon. When you find yourself at odds with any individual on the street, no matter how protected or invincible they may seem,
they can be eliminated.
Excuse me, sir. Do you have a cigarette? Sir, I need a cigarette. Do you have a smoke? You'd be surprised how much power you can draw from an overhand slash. Imagine one day you're out on the streets, someone approaches you and asks you for a cigarette, and he gets you with a fierce underhand rocket up through the chin. That's something that you don't want to happen to you. I'm going to show you how to do it. Simple. Make yourself plain. Conceal your weapon. Don't talk to yourself. Make sure you look casual, like this. You want a nice casual look. It's a simple scenario. Get on the streets, find any dumpster. Any dumpster will do. Anything you can fit yourself in. Someone approaches. You need to make yourself silent, like this.
You gotta anticipate.
So you know I'm here, right?
Imagine you're a businessman absent-mindedly stumbling home from work after a long day. Who could possibly suspect a knife-wielding man inside of a dumpster, ready to perform figure eights to the face? We'll find out soon. Fuck! It's as simple as that.
The United Toilets of America. Hi, I'm Ken Lewis, former CEO of Bank of America. Here are some words you can use to describe me. Bulletproof, golden, untouchable, ironclad, godly. Together with my friends Chris Cox, John Corzine, Tim Geithner, Ben Bernanke, we're doing some really fucked up shit to the country, and you can't do a thing about it. That's right.
The shoe is untied.
You know what I hate about you little pussies? Everything.
Don't kill me with a knife. Don't knife me on the streets when I'm walking around Washington, D.C., because that's where you can find me. I have a house in Connecticut. I'm usually walking around the streets of Washington, D.C. Don't stab me with a knife. Don't do it. Don't kill me. Don't kill Ken Lewis, the former head of Bank of America. John Corzine. Who's John Corzine? Who's Rihanna? Who's John Corzine? I know who Rihanna is. I know the IMDb top 10. Who's John Corzine?
Dude, that's a nice suit. Here, catch.
Lovers, good evening. This is Dark Times with Dark Match Steve. Come on in, sit on down, take your bra off, put your hair up, get ready. What's up, ladies and gentlemen? Tonight's a very special night. For the first time ever, we are live on Rumble. How about that shit? Guys, Facebook, look, it just wasn't treating me right, okay? Yeah, I don't know. I get into these bad algorithms sometimes. Seems like I'm not in the best one tonight as well. But anyway, look, we're just trying this. Facebook really, I was streaming there every night. Like right now, we're live Rumble, YouTube, and X, formerly known as Twitter. And forgive the dead naming. But yeah, guys, I'm normally on Facebook streaming there. as one of my destinations. As you may or may not know, with StreamYard, you got to pay. It costs money to stream. And, but yeah, the plan I'm paying for is like affordable for me. It doesn't fucking hurt. And, you know, and you can only stream at 3 destinations, 3 different platforms at a time. I'd love to do 50. I'd love to be on every platform, but I can't afford that. Okay, I was thinking about upgrading and I was excited. I was telling everybody, oh yeah, guys, I want to upgrade. I think it's only like $200 some, 300 for the year or something. And I can stream Rumble, Kick, Twitch. I'm going to be on all these places, guys. I think let's do it. And I went to upgrade and I was like, oh, the plan I'm on costs like 200 something if you pay for the year, which I'm paying weekly, and I'm actually paying more for it. I may as well pay for a whole year because this, whatever. I think I'm locked in with StreamYard. Anyway, I'm stuck on only 3 platforms per stream. So, yeah, we're going to try out Rumble just because sometimes Facebook's a pain in the ass. And a lot of people that watch my stream on Facebook actually watch while it's not live. So, you know what? I'm going to post a link on Facebook to wherever so you can watch it other places. But I'm going to try this for a little bit. If I get at least a few people per night on Rumble, we'll probably stick with Rumble. And plus, I like the free speech aspect of Rumble. So we're going to be doing that. And we're going to probably have some Rumble exclusive streams as well. But yeah, anyway, and another thing with Facebook is I get hit with these fucking copyright things from all kinds of, I'm telling you, and it's like, sometimes it depends what I'm getting hit with. Like it's threatening, like they're going to, if you get too many of these copyright infringements, we might not allow you to post on Facebook. You're going to go into Zuckerberg jail and have to bend over while Zuckerberg pounds you from behind. And as tempting as that sounds, I'm just, I have better things to do. But yeah, it's ridiculous. Some of the shit I get hit with on Facebook, the violations and stuff. So we know that's not going to happen on Rumble. YouTube, I get hit with copyrights, but it's very rarely anything that's like, fucks with the stream. So yeah, we're trying out Rumble. So tonight, what are we doing for Dark Times tonight? We are going to, so if you guys remember, we're going to do a debate review tonight, and I'm going to get it started very quickly because it's a long debate and I don't want to be on past 9:30 if we can do that, which I already know it's not going to happen, but it's okay. It's a debate review we're doing, but the point of this, I had other, we have other options. I mentioned to you guys, we got some fun stuff planned for this week. We should be able to at least 1 or 2 days here, not be too crazy with something trending I have to cover. But this isn't because it's trending at all. In fact, I don't think it got the best views. I don't even know. But Destiny, who we cover a lot of his debate stuff on here, he's one of the smartest guys from, the Democrats. One of the smartest, probably the best debater that the Democrats have. And I respect a lot of his viewpoints and stuff. There's a bunch of shit I disagree with him on a lot of shit, but he has done some really crazy stuff in calling certain people out and different shit. He's very factually correct with some things. And anyway, we cover a lot of his stuff, but the main reason I'm covering this is because we the other night on my stream, we sort of got into, but I didn't say, whether I support it or not, whatever. But, I was like, guys, are we ready? This is just so funny. This debate just happened last night because on Friday on the stream, I think it was Friday, I was like, I was just spouting off going, yeah, guys, are we ready to have this conversation? Can we even handle having the conversation as to whether this was like justified? And at what point do you say it's justified if there's people dying from not being able to get care? And, people are flipped out and appalled anytime you see one of these people that are celebrating the Brian Thompson guy, the CEO from United Healthcare. anytime you see one of these people celebrating his, assassination, everyone, people are flipped out, appalled. Oh my God, what the fuck? But it's like, these CEOs are fucking toasting champagne and fucking lighting cigars every time they make a few extra million by denying claims. And, how many deaths come from that and all that. We got into it, I was kind of spouting off and yelling and, I got out of hand as I often do. So, but it's funny because now here we had a really a fairly high profile debate about this. Now, the thing is, I only got to see a little bit of the end of it, probably the last like 30 or 45 minutes, which was like the Q&A, if I'm not mistaken. And so I don't know what happens during this debate. So we'll be able to get through it together here. Let me say hi to the chat, the people that are just getting in here, my lovers, my friends, and then we'll get started. Hello. No check Willie in the hizzy. Is it? Your profile picture looks familiar, but I don't know this name. Oh, is this Airplane Willie? No check Willie. Oh, by the way, Dutch Duke, I don't know if you're watching or you're in the chat. I don't see you in the chat yet, but Dutch Duke, guys, this is the thing with PayPal. I don't get notifications with the goddamn PayPal. So yeah, fucking Dutch Duke, I owe you a shout out. Lover. I'm sorry. Dutch Duke sent me money on the PayPal, and I don't even remember how much it was, but I completely fucking missed it. And it was I think the day after the last time I was in there, I have an anonymous person that sent me 30. They want to remain anonymous. And yeah, fucking and then Dutch Duke sent me on the fucking PayPal, and I didn't even see it. I don't sign into it enough. Venmo gives me a notification, so I won't miss those if you guys said. Anyway, if you want to, it's not a requirement, but if you love me, if you think I'm cute and you want to put a few dollars into my tight little undersized thong that's just like cutting into my skin, it's so tight. You want to try to slip some bills in there, you can do that at PayPal. I'm Dark Match on PayPal, DARKMATCH, and I will eventually see it and credit you if you want credit. And on Venmo, I'm Dark Match Steve, DARKMATCHSTEVE. So, yeah, fucking lovers, no check Willie. Is that you, Airplane Willie? Oh, you got rid of the X checks. Now I'm no check Willie. It means my opinion means dick if I don't have a check. Yeah, the only reason I have the blue checks don't mean as much anymore to me. I think most people don't take them seriously anymore. But I have to have one to be able to stream on X, which I do enjoy doing sometimes. We might switch it up, though. I got to look at my numbers on X. And, I don't get a lot. The thing is, some nights I will blow the fuck up on X. It'll be like hundreds of people. And, well, hundreds of accounts, which is what I was going to say. And I hate to say it, but, there's a certain amount of bots that are on every site. And I worry about some of the X numbers because generally, like Facebook, when I have a few people, I never have like hundreds on Facebook, but when I have a few accounts that are seeing me on Facebook, a good portion of them get in the chat and say, "Hey, what's up?" Whatever, da da da. And same with YouTube, and even Twitch. When I was on Twitch, I'd get like one person here and there commenting, and I usually would only have a couple viewers there. But yeah, fucking something's up with X. Some of the numbers just, I don't know. They don't make sense. Maybe people are shy. They don't want to talk to me. They don't know who I am. But some of the people on the other sites do. I don't know. Anyway, Airplane Willie, thanks for hanging with us. Stacy is up in here or was up in here, hanging out with Bob Cook. What's up, Bob Cook? Thank you guys for joining me. If you are still in here, I know you guys were here early. But yeah, thanks for hanging with us. Literally dozens of people. What? All right, let's get the show on the road here. Let me pull this debate back up because it's a long one, but we're not going to do I think we're going to skip the Q&A. We're not going to do that. So if you guys want to see the Q&A, and I know it does get interesting, but I want to leave something for you guys to click for. I don't want to completely steal this person's video. Okay, so we could either go to Wick TV or Destiny. Destiny has 75K views on it. Wick TV is the person that hosted this. I already gave Wick a click. You know what? Here, hold on. Let me just screen share so you guys can see, and they'll get like a little bit of, if anybody does see this video, a good portion, they'll get credit here. This is Wick TV.
Your connections to the past are waiting. Get Ancestry DNA for only $39.
Go ahead and subscribe to this. Give him a like here. I don't know. I guess this guy hosts some debates and does some debate shit. So whatever. We'll subscribe.
Winters in Yonkers, and we will send an attorney to you for your auto accident. I'm Bill Winters. If you've been injured in an accident, call Winters in Yonkers so we can start working on.
Bob Cook, thank you, sir. You're still here. Yeah, I appreciate it. No, this is just really interesting because I was spouting off the other night, and admittedly, I don't know that much about the healthcare system and stuff. Most people don't, but I probably know even less, at least from experience. I know even less about the fucking health insurance and that kind of thing because I don't go to the doctor. I avoid the doctor as much as I can. Again, if I broke something or if I had to go, I would go, I guess. But I have. When I fucked up my hip a few months ago and had to go to the doctor, I went to the walk-in clinic. The thing is, I don't always do what they tell me to do. I hear their opinion and then I make my own choice. They prescribed me a steroid when I hurt my hip. They said, "Oh yeah, you got to take ibuprofen." Basically, they gave me a script for prescription strength. I didn't use that, and I could get into that anyway. And they also prescribed me a steroid. And I guess a lot of people don't really know this unless they know somebody that's been through it. But some steroids can actually deteriorate muscle tissue and stuff like that, or different tissue in your body. Only reason I know about it is because my mom had a bad reaction to some steroids and it deteriorated her lungs and she can barely breathe now. So I was like, okay, ibuprofen, take a little of the edge off with the pain and I'll stay off it and I'll heal up myself. And they're like, oh, here's a steroid, go fill this and it'll really help your leg. So we didn't do that. We just went with the Advil. Thank you, Pfizer. Okay. We gave him his click. Should I? Yeah, we're going to watch this from Destiny's. God damn it. I didn't mean to undo that. Fucking bullshit. We're going to watch from Destiny's channel in case I like to hear. Sometimes he will mute himself so he can talk shit and talk to his chat. I want to hear everything from his end.
Sunny days call for Sun Cruiser Vodka Iced Tea. Made with real iced tea and real vodka.
Atheism is a horrible thing in societies where you do have court.
Luigi allegedly shot Brian Thompson, the CEO of United Healthcare, in the back until he was dead. Many have called him a hero for this action. Some say they celebrate the action's merits, but do not condone the method. Still others are neutrally calling it the aggregate situation understandable. But from a societal perspective, is the killing of a healthcare CEO ultimately an act of defense, or is Mangione?
Oh, hey, what's up, Fat Pig? Thanks for joining us. Stacy and Bob Cook still in here. Thank you guys for hanging. Yeah, we're on a little bit early tonight because this is a long debate and I can't be on super late. So yeah, we're gonna try to get through this. But yeah, this is Destiny was in this debate, and if Fat Pig, if you remember on Friday, I was spouting off about, well, are we ready to have this conversation? When can we kill CEOs? when our grandma dies. So anyway, this debate happened last night. I've only heard the Q&A part, so this is all going to be fresh to me. It's going to be good, though. These are some, from what I saw, these are, there's some fairly smart people on the panel, and it's the conversation gets interesting.
As the state suggests, a terrorist and cold-blooded murderer who should not be celebrated nor lionized, but condemned in the strongest possible manner. When is vigilantism justified? That's what we're going to talk about tonight, and we got some great guests to do it. We're going to give each of these wonderful people short introductions, and then we'll get into it. The Soy Pill, start us off. What is your take? What do you got?
Yeah, hey, it's me, the Soy Pill. I make video essays about politics, and I'll be arguing that Luigi is a hero to people worldwide for justifiable reasons. I hope we don't get too bogged down in the definitions of terrorist and hero, since they're subjective. We could all agree that Saddam Hussein...
Wow, they're going right for it. So we actually, I wasn't sure. I knew this guy from the Q&A part that I saw. I knew that he was sort of leaned towards, getting philosophical with whether or not this is justified. Like he definitely seemed like he was willing to say it was justified. I didn't really. I mean, he's going straight in for pro, saying it was justified and he's a hero, I guess.
Amelia Earhart or Osama bin Laden have committed horrible acts of terrorism, and yet they're seen as heroes to many as well. I don't expect to get my opponents to say that murder is good or to condone Luigi as a hero, but my goals in this conversation are to establish that, number one, the practices of insurance companies in denying and delaying healthcare for profit are reprehensible and tantamount to robbery or even murder. Number two, most of these practices, despite being absolutely monstrous, are within the company's legal rights, and when they aren't, they're rarely ever punished to a significant degree. Number three, Brian Thompson was aware, complicit, and encouraging of these policies. Number four, many of the people suffering or dying due to these policies have no way to see justice, and Luigi provided them a voice that they've lacked for years. And finally, number five, to approach this in good faith, if my opponents can show me that these suffering people have better short-term options for justice and aid, I will concede that their lionization of Luigi is misplaced and ignorant at best, and at worst, detrimental to society.
I don't know what that is, the fat pig. I ever had an Alaskan pipeline? Do I need to Google that? Oh, wow. No, I've never done that. I just, the few times that I've had, again, guys, I'm playing a gay character at my stream. My internet character is gay. So I have to say these kinds of things. I hate to, say repulsive things that some people might not like. I get it. No, not everybody's LGBTQ friendly. Just know I'm playing a character. Okay. But anyway, no. So the few times I've had anything near my butthole, my tight little pink starfish, it's just a regular dildo, like a normal person. And for, to be clear here, it says to put up a girl's vagina. Then put the turd up a girl like a dildo. Anyway, thank you.
Okay, thanks for being here. Looking forward to it. Ash, Rube, what do you got?
Hey, Ash, Gelatinous Rube, whatever you want to call me. So I would prefer Americans not kill each other over healthcare, but it's difficult to encourage.
This guy is like, look at the hair in his face like this. Look at this. I don't know who the fuck this guy is, but the whole time I was watching, it was like weak sauce from this guy. He thinks he's like a more handsome version of Vosh or something. I don't know what the deal is. I don't hate him, or so I don't know who the fuck he is or whatever. But he seems like he's feeling himself too much. He's into himself here. He's got the hair parted halfway, and it's just straight up in his face. He thinks he's like an anime character. I don't fucking know, but it's like it's kind of cringy.
Urge a ceasefire without some means of reprisal or some kind of leverage to encourage them to stop killing us over healthcare. So
it's 2024.
Oh dear God! See, this is the problem watching on Destiny's channel. We're gonna get 500 ads. I think we might be switching. We might go back to the other guy's channel.
And you're still using the same cable network? Frontier Fiber.
I'm not sure, but I think streaming is Destiny's only job, so he has to make this money. I hang drywall all day, and now we're doing floors. I'm doing floors, and then I come home and do streaming, so I don't have to, nickel and dime the viewers and make them watch bullshit.
If healthcare CEOs don't want to be killed, I think that Luigi has through a bad action, given us some leverage to encourage the members of the healthcare cartel to defend.
Look at his hair is covering his face. This guy is killing me.
A little bit. Stop pushing for actions or laws like the Affordable Care Act, the 80-20 rule that encourages them to stop negotiating on our behalf and instead delay, deny, defend further and further so their investments can continue to garner more profit and they can make up any kind of excess cash that's illegal by just issuing rebates to us, while several policyholders, especially people with more expensive claims, are left out in the cold. So I think that this is an unfortunate event that has given us a lot of leverage on the side of policyholders.
Okay. We'll get into it as we go. Ukerist, what do you got?
Yeah, I'll try to keep it short as there's a lot already said. I think one of the cool things about living together in political communities is the creation of opportunities to live together in peace. The reliable, sort of predictable ability to resolve conflict through means other than violence. Violence in a working political community is a last resort kind of mechanism, not a first impulse tool. And because of that, any use of violence typically needs to be justified. A reason for its use has to be defended. And so if you're going to defend any particular instance of violence, you want to make sure also that your principles generalize and don't lead to any funny consequences that you aren't willing to deal with. So my basic claim, I think, today is going to be political violence may be justified in certain circumstances, and this is not one of those. And I want to see the proponents make a very strong positive case. But to avoid the sort of debate, ooh, I don't have the burden because you guys are on the positive side, my negative case is basically centered around three things that I think we'll disagree on. I think we're going to disagree on whether the action was necessary, effective, or justified. And I disagree on all those. I think it's unnecessary, ineffective, and unjustified. And so importantly, I think like me saying that this is a bad thing that should not have happened, it does not actually require me to think that the CEO was a great guy or that the company was perfectly ethical. We can argue about the particulars of that, but I think it's going to be more important to say, even if it's a bad company, even if the CEO was unethical, does that rise to the level of justifying the action that was taken? And I'm going to suggest no. And
guys, I forgot. I got to put my, I've been getting scam calls all day, but I have my other calls shut off. Let's turn them on in case we get a scam call. It might be a good one. Silence unknown callers. Off. Let's do it, guys. Let's go down the rabbit hole.
Also that even if you don't even care about questions of justice, that it's not actually going to be effective at accomplishing the political ends you want if the ends you want are some sort of healthcare reform. So,
well, thank you for being here. We'll get into it as we go. Buckaroo, what do you got?
Hello. I think Luigi is a man whose face is being used as a meme to express a fundamental human experience that is regardless of class, creed, language, race. You know, healthcare by most developed nations is considered a human right. It's something that insurance companies use as another tool to make profit. We see racial, economic, and educational disparities reinforced by the denial ratings of these companies, only further souring the relationship between an already disenfranchised claimant and their insurance provider. We see the American opinion of health insurance reaching the lowest it has within the past 2 decades, and ultimately many agencies utilize a strategy I've expressed using a chart I borrowed from the Soy Pill here tonight. Okay, if you can see, we've got fuck around and we've got find out. Emphasis being on the fucking around, perhaps not enough of the finding out, the methods of which I believe to be a direct result of the seeming violence, quote unquote, that they commit against the American people.
Okay, we'll get into it as we go. Last but certainly not least, Destiny, what are your thoughts here?
Yeah, I think that the positive argument obviously needs to...
We cannot hear
you. Sorry, I was just talking really quietly, actually. I think that the positive argument has to be provided for, obviously, because I think that the killing fails, I think, for basically every aspect. Obviously, it fails legally. Somebody earlier here literally gave the definition for terrorism, which is that this murder gives leverage for a political change, which was literally why New York State decided to use the terrorism subcharge to get its first-degree murder, and that's the definition of it, is trying to affect some political outcome. It fails personally, like the person was not personally impacted by any of the healthcare industry in a negative way, even though people tried to say he was initially. At first, it was that his poor grandma died, and then it was that he had a bad experience, and now it comes out he's just a rich kid who had surgery, and his experiences had nothing to do with negative health insurance companies or anything like that. It fails ethically. I don't think that you can say just because this guy is the CEO of a company who's engaged in a business that you don't like, we should be able to kill anybody in management as a result of that. I think that's a little bit absurd. We can think of should I be allowed to kill the CEO or kill executives who work at gun manufacturing companies or...
Yeah, I would love to know if the guy actually knew anybody personally affected by United Healthcare or something. I mean, if you look at when his reviews of the Unibobbers book, was it Ted Kaczynski, right? Fucking, and the way he was talking about Ted Kaczynski and being like, obviously Ted Kaczynski's fucking brilliant, and he sees injustice and he sees and so he acted upon it and this and that. And I mean, yeah, I could see on this one level, this guy, I mean, he doesn't have to be personally affected to, do the math like a fucking autistic psychopath and be like, oh, I have to murder a CEO for there to be some kind of change.
or car companies, or it's just especially one of the most tightly regulated industries in the entire United States. That's, I think, an absurd claim. And then I think it fails most importantly, consequentially. There are really good conversations that we could be having about improving healthcare in the United States. Almost none of those conversations are solely centered around health insurance industries. There's a whole bunch of expensive things in U.S. healthcare, between hospitals, between doctors, between private practice, between insurance, between pharmaceutical companies. Like, there are so many different things that are expensive in the United States. To settle all of this, at the feet of health insurance companies, I think is incredibly naive. And I think that this killing is going to result in absolutely nothing changing, because none of the conversations about any of the industry now are productive. It's just idolizing this random loser who is mentally insane and decided to kill healthcare exec for whatever reason.
Okay. Well, I guess let's start there.
You forgot to say sexy. Destiny right now is pretending that he would not suck off Luigi Mangione, and I can promise you he would. If he would, if he would put Nick Fuentes' penis in his mouth, he would Luigi Mangione, and that goes for any other gay or bisexual man. I'm here to tell you that.
Terrorist charge that the New York State's bringing on to the
Guys,
Luigi
we got a scam call. Hold on. Hello? Hi, yes, Stinky Indian Hotline. How can we help you? Damn it! We had one on the line. Fuck. Oh, Dutch Duke is here. What's up, bro? Dutch Duke, thank you for the PayPal. I just signed into PayPal the other day, yesterday. And I saw you at, I don't remember exactly what day it was, but last week, I think, right? You sent me some money. Thank you, sir. I really appreciate it. Even if it was old, maybe I haven't seen it for over a week, but yeah, thank you, sir. I didn't neglect to say something. I just seriously did not even know. Yeah, Merry Christmas to you too, man. I really appreciate it. Fuck, we just had a scam call, guys. I went too hard with the Stinky Indian Hotline. They don't like that, apparently. Okay, let's get back into this.
case. Who here thinks that that's an appropriate thing? That's a good thing that they're doing this? Raise your hand.
Probably.
That they're doing what? God damn it. Fucking scam call. Let me back it up. We're to 917. Let's go to 804.
CEO or kill executives who work at like gun manufacturing companies or car companies, or it's just especially one of the most tightly regulated industries in the entire United States. That's, I think, an absurd claim. And then I think it fails most importantly, consequentially. There are really good conversations that we could be having about improving healthcare in the United States. Almost none of those conversations are solely centered around health insurance industries. There's a whole bunch of expensive things in U.S. healthcare, between hospitals, between doctors, between private practice, between insurance, between pharmaceutical companies. Like, there are so many different things that are expensive in the United States. To settle all of this, at the feet of health insurance companies, I think is incredibly naive. And
okay, got another scam call. Hold on, let's try it again. Hello?
Hi, my name is Maria from Senior Care. How are you?
Hi, a Stinky Indian Hotline. How can we help you? Damn it. All right, I got to try something else next, I guess. Did I get your PayPal? You sent me something? When? Uh-oh, my phone's taking a shit. Stinky Indian Hotline, yes. When I get them to talk with the Stinky Indian Hotline and they talk to me, it's oh god damn it. Ah, fuck. My phone was Did you send me something fat pig? All right, let's get back to the debate. I'm sure they'll call back. God damn it. Jake D, what's up, Jake D, over on the YouTube, calling from the SIH. Oh, Sticky Indian Hotline, yes. Too stiff, too early. Yeah, I know, but sometimes they stick with me. The fat pig, you liar. I sat here and had to confirm shit to log into my PayPal. You fucking liar. You wasted my time. Promo code. Good evening, sir. Sorry you're late. No, it's all good. We're just now getting into the debate here, getting into the juice. Use the evil gimmick on the call. Good evening, Iggy. Thanks for joining us, sir. Yeah, we'll see. I don't like to steal gimmicks, you know. I like to do my own gimmicks. The Stinky Indian Hotline is a good one because when they if they stay on the phone after I say that, you know it's a feisty one and they'll fight with me a little bit. They'll start cussing and stuff. Watch, they'll call back. I started answering. They should call back. Normally the calls stop around like 7:30ish these days. All right, let's get back into this. Sorry.
And I think that this killing is going to result in absolutely nothing changing because none of the conversations about any of the industry now are productive. It's just idolizing this random loser who is mentally insane and decided to kill a healthcare exec for whatever reason.
Okay. Well, I guess let's start there. Terrorist charge that the New York State's bringing onto the Luigi case. Who here thinks that that's an appropriate thing? That's a good thing that they're doing this? Raise your hand.
Probably.
So everyone
seems fair. If that manifesto is actually his, that seems fair.
No matter who you are, there are times it can be tough to be yourself when you have severe.
I gave the reasoning earlier.
Again, sorry, we're on Destiny's channel. We got 500 ads for this video.
charging him with terrorism?
It's accurate at the very least. I said earlier, he's providing us leverage to hopefully engender some kind of ceasefire between healthcare companies and other aspects of the healthcare industry. Hospitals are involved in this as well. Hopefully to reconsider some of their policies and say, maybe we shouldn't do this. So if that's the definition of terrorism, then
ceasefire.
Why would it be inappropriate to charge him?
If you had to rate your confidence on how likely you think it is that any hospital or insurance company or healthcare system will change its policies as a result of this, what's your confidence on that? Like, how likely do you think this actually is?
One guy?
Let me tell you guys what's going to happen because of this this assassination of the United Healthcare CEO. I'll tell you what's going to happen. Your rates are going to go up is what's going to happen, okay? Because now they all have to pay for private security 24/7 and make all these special arrangements for themselves to be out in public. So that's what's going to happen. It's actually going to hurt the consumer even more now. Your rates are going up to pay for millionaires to have private security. You're welcome.
Yeah.
Just one? Not very confident.
Okay, yeah. So I like if the possibility of change is part of the justification for this act, I don't see the actual line here. Like
this line just advocating for more of it happening is what he's saying.
Well, sure, yeah. So I
think it's a possibility.
Ukerist, though, would you then be okay with it if it completely 100% changed the conversation? Like this?
No, but I think a lot of the people who are defending it are thinking that it will be effective, and I want them to grapple with the fact that it's not. I want them to realize that even if you think this is justified because it's effective, and I don't think it would be even if it was, that this is probably not going to be effective. In fact, I think this will probably have a backlash effect that will probably entrench some of these problems y'all are complaining about.
So in terms of will this have an effect? I think the effect with this, and I was kind of joking, but that's probably actually true. What I just said is your insurance rates are going to go up because these CEOs are going to have to pay for private security, and they're not going to take that out of their current profits or whatever. They can't take a loss like that. So unironically, that probably will happen, but it was a joke when I said it. Anyway, what I think is effective in this, probably directly, it doesn't affect how insurance policies will, be for the and how they enforce the rules and deny coverage and all that shit is probably won't be affected directly by this thing happening. It's not like all these companies are going to say, oh my God, guys, look, we're the CEOs and we're really scared for our lives now. So we're going to have to treat these customers better. And we're going to make like 50 million less this year. Sorry. But we'll take the hit. No, that's definitely not going to happen. But I think it's interesting that this is bringing people's attention. There's plenty of people, especially young people, that don't know shit about insurance. And, but a lot of people, I feel like, and especially if you're not upper class, you do get this vibe and this feeling just functioning and going through society that you're being taken advantage of in various ways. And I think this whole situation has opened people's eyes to this form of being taken advantage of, paying into insurance under the impression that you will be covered for certain care, and then you are denied coverage based on some algorithm that they set so that they can increase their profits. This is like, I can guarantee you there's a shitload of people that this kind of thing isn't even on their radar. And now they are, they've got, they're on the trail of ascent, so to speak, or something,
Well, what metric would you have to see that this was an effective policy? Would the healthcare system need to change significantly? Would one company need to change the policies? Would we need single payer? Like, what would convince you that this itself was the driving force? Because it's a little soon to say. It hasn't even been a month. So this could completely change something by the next midterm. It could completely change the conversation 4 years from now. Like, who knows? But
nobody even remembers the Burnell dude that set us up on fire for Gaza. Why would we expect that we're going to remember this like months from now?
Well, I'm actually glad you brought that up, because I thought it was actually the difference between these two things. One is this guy could have gone and burned himself, self-immolated in front of the United Healthcare building. And yeah, you're right. We probably would have forgotten about him. But because this was so egregious and blatant, everyone is talking about this. Like, this has completely changed the conversation. None of us would be here today if he hadn't done that. Actually, I have a stat for you specifically, Destiny. If you had to guess, last year before the shooting, you made 305 videos on YouTube. How many of them discussed healthcare specifically?
2 maybe. I don't know. Probably not many.
That's actually, conservatively 2. And that's if you're talking about like, Eastern medicine. Maybe one is like anti-vax. Whereas now at least 2 since the shooting has happened. I know this conversation will probably be uploaded. You had your debate with Vegan Gains, so that's an 11,000% increase in healthcare videos, and you have a very wide audience. That's really
how many other people are having like productive conversations about healthcare?
I don't know. You can like turn on every single news station. They're all talking about this.
That productive. They're just talking about Luigi, the fact that he shot somebody. But I don't think we're talking about it much anymore. We've kind of moved on. We're in the next part of the news cycle. We're waiting for Trump to come into office.
Good God, the fucking ads. Destiny, come on, dude. Come on. Don't you make enough? You have so many viewers. Don't you make enough money? Can't you cut these in half or something? You don't understand that you're taking away from the product, or you don't care. You don't care that this is affecting the quality. People like me are not going to pay to not get ads and use fucking whatever kind. I don't know how to use the ad blocker. I don't want to you just come on. You had like 10 ads already. We're not even 10 minutes into the debate.
Findings, drinking life.
It's like, I have no way to check this or prove this, but a similar question back at you three. How many of you before this news cycle could have confidently named Brian Thompson as the CEO of this company? Did you know him by name or sight or face? Okay, right. So one of the issues I've had with this whole grave dancing in the aftermath of the Luigi incident is I could maybe.
No, yeah, that's true, Iggy. Nothing to see here. Record profits, record corpses.
You'd be perfectly okay with seeing people do the kind of grave dancing where I've seen some of these anecdotes. Specifically, people are like, yeah, I wasn't insured by United and they did not make claim for this. Screw that guy in particular. I'm really pissed about it. I've been following, the lawsuit against him for his insider trading and all this, and I hated him and his guts, and I'm glad this happened. Those people, fine, whatever. But most people had no idea who this guy was, had no idea what was going on in this company, probably couldn't have told you anything about any of these stats beforehand. Maybe you're right, Soy Pill, that that's a good thing now that we're talking about it. But I do think that there's something really weird about just being like, yes, this guy in particular was so evil and so bad that I think a random person, rich guy who was not affected by his actions, gunning him down the street is justified and thumbs up and okay. And I'm going to celebrate it, even though 2 weeks ago I couldn't have told you anything about it.
I personally do agree.
Just one at a time. Let's go to Buckaroo and then let's go.
I do agree there is a massive, a lot of people didn't really know who he was, but I think that is just relaying a serious issue within health insurance agencies as a whole and with healthcare, with how healthcare is provided to an individual patient, or in this case, claimant. I think the distance that is put between the individual patient and the care that they're provided actively perpetuates this this dehumanization that goes both ways. We complain a lot about how we are seen as numbers on a chart, and so is Brian Thompson in this case. So I actually think your argument goes to it goes to express a greater issue that I think is perpetuated by insurance companies as a whole. And I do think Brian Thompson.
Would this mean that you're super against single payer then, since probably the government sees you as a number more than any other, that would be the largest organization in the entire country that could?
I personally prefer something more like a 2-tier system at least, but I also looking at like Nordic models, for example, you see a lot of more localized government control over the individual like healthcare being provided, and then the greater government is just helping facilitate that.
Wait, in Sweden and Norway, they don't have federal level payment?
They do, but they offer a lot of allowance to the individual counties as to the way they facilitate it.
Okay. I still don't see how like having like a county level thing is like at the end of the day, I feel like the only thing that matters is you interfacing personally with your doctor, not knowing where the guy who authorizes your treatments lives.
Well, the difference is in one of these countries, the non-profit healthcare system is incentivized to get the best care for the people and not to make money. And the CEO is part of those decisions that go down and say, hey, let's see how we can make more money. How can
we got a scam call. Hold on, guys.
For our company?
Well, how do they make money in the United States?
All right, so how should we answer it? Should I do the Stinky Indian hotline, pretend I'm running a call center myself? What should we do? All right, I'm going to do that. Hello? Hi. Oh, let me give the phone to my grandpa. Hold on 1 minute. Hello? I'm all right.
Well, I'm calling to let you know of a new low-cost final expense insurance plan that has just been approved in your state and is designed to cover 100% of your general expenses. So just for qualification purpose, may I know how old are you?
I'm scared to die.
Sir, may I know how old are you?
I'm a lot older than you, I can tell you that much. Oh, dude, no check Willie. This is what I'm telling you. I pissed them off so bad one day that they got me on some list that they're just like, call him nonstop. There's got to be like multiple call centers that just they put me on the roster for every person in the call center. Again, luckily, I don't know about Android, but iPhone at least has that you can dismiss every call that is a foreign number, not in your contacts. So I do that. I don't actually have to listen to. Sometimes I turn it on during the day if I'm having a slow day and I just want to fuck with them. But yeah, no, I'm on a bad list. I'm on some bad lists. I do need a voice changer. Yeah. Well, yeah, I have something, but it wouldn't come through over the phone. I guess maybe I could answer it through the laptop. I think I can do that. It's a Mac. All right. Sorry. Back to the debate. Let's get back into it.
It depends. They have like 2/3 of their investments are in bonds. If they have a loss adjusted ratio that's lower than 100%, then they're paying out less than they're getting in. But it depends.
Well, so that 2/3, I don't know what that. So the vast majority of the money comes from premiums that they're paid, right? And they have to pay out at least 80% of that in healthcare costs.
Mm-hmm.
So how are they making money? Like, couldn't you argue that the U.S. healthcare system is incentivized to make money by charging people for things? So, like going to the hospital and delivering levels of care that you know are going to be effective, or like would people buy a drug if they knew that it wouldn't work? Would people go to the hospital if they knew that it wouldn't work? Or
I'm not sure I'm following. Could you?
I'm a dialect coach. I'm a dialect coach.
Want a career as a dialect coach?
You're saying that they're incentivized to profit. Well, how does a company make profit? By selling a good or service. We think that healthcare is really important, so we consume that good or service. So
by selling a good or service or denying people claims. So saying, I mean, you can look at any of these examples. I'll just bring up a bunch. But do you know what a MIST is? Like a minor impact soft issue?
No.
So there's a specific strategy for MIST claims where they say, look, the payouts for these are incredibly minor, and they're also very hard to prove because you don't get x-rays or specific medical diagnoses that are super, super obvious. So it's more profitable to us to just say no to all of these and hope that the vast majority of the people don't fight it. The ones that do fight it realize that the litigation is going to cost more than the payout ever would be, and then they make more money off that and are not providing the promised care to the people that they're supposed to.
Wait, so you're telling me there are health insurers where it explicitly says that they cover things like these minor impact soft tissue injuries, and then but they actually don't cover any of them? Can you give me an example of a company that does that I can look up?
Yeah, look up Allstate.
Wait. For health insurance, or is this for car insurance?
No, this is for car insurance.
Okay, we're not talking about car insurance. We're talking about health insurance. I think it's a different type of thing, right?
Okay, so then we could look at the recent report that came out from the Permanent Subcommittee on Investigations, where we've talked about this on stream, the AI denials of people getting post-acute healthcare. This post-acute
car insurance covers health, though. if you have medical issues related to a car accident, why can't we talk about car insurance? You don't go through your health insurance company if you get into a car accident and get hurt. It's covered by the car insurance.
Acute healthcare, for those of you who don't know, means when you get a procedure, let's say some sort of surgery, or you need something and you need that care afterwards, they have this system that determines whether or not you need it. That system might be based on a couple of factors. It ranks all these points, and if you're over a certain threshold, they just deny you that care. People who are denied care either have to pay out of pocket, go through litigation, or forgo that care entirely. And the consequences of forgoing that care are either your condition worsens, it becomes permanent, or you die. So what about that? That's healthcare. That's literally.
So I don't know where so I don't know real quick, that 90% number, the only place I've ever been able to find that before, that wasn't from any House subcommittee or whatever. That was from a lawsuit.
Okay, let's say it's 1%. It doesn't matter. The point is that people are dying because of this.
Well, the point is do we think that every single denial is bad?
No, there are tons of denials that are fine. Fraud is the second biggest white collar crime of all time. People like to commit insurance fraud, and we should have checks for that. But that doesn't mean that most of these denials are okay. And if you
hold on, just real quick. This is to you, Soy, and to your side. Wouldn't it matter how much of this is happening? We can recognize in any system there's going to be failures, there's going to be fraud, as you said, there's going to be bad actors. Like, how many people have to have died for what Luigi did to be justified?
I'd say he's a hero to whoever the people who had family or friends die, regardless if that's one person, 1,000 people, 40,000 people, whatever the number is. Obviously, there's probably a more reasonable threshold. It's not one, it's probably hundreds, if not thousands. The point is that these systems being used are, based on whistleblower testimony, not adequate to what adjusters would normally do to give people the proper payouts.
I will also note we do. Sorry, thank you. I will also note we do see that there are nearly 17% of in-network claims that are denied.
Okay, so is he saying? Did he just say they're using? I'm so distracted with the scam calls and everything, and then I was reading in chat. Yeah, the answer on other devices. So I can answer on here. I'm pretty sure because it does pop up and it says end or whatever. Skip or call answer whatever, and but I've never done it through here, but I guess it should work. I got the fucking mic hooked up and everything, but yeah, so I have this thing called the Voice Live Touch 2. I think I have the second one, the second version, and it does have voice changing software and shit. It's like it's got like hundreds of I know over 100. I think it goes up to like almost 200 different, vocal distortion type of effects and shit. It's a loop, an effect and a loop pedal device type thing.
At least in 2021, and 77% of all of those were just listed as other reasons. There wasn't even a clear outline as to why they were being denied, as whether it had to do with their specific policy or if they filled out the forms wrong, which is part of the denial rating as well.
Wait.
So sorry, yeah, I think the guy just said, according to whistleblowers, that the algorithms that they're using, right? Is that what he was saying? Like the system that they're using is not as good for the consumer as opposed to them being completely handled by claims adjusters. Did I hear that right? I'm not going to go back. This debate's too long.
Hold on, wait, real quick on that. If somebody filled out a form wrong, wouldn't that be a good reason to deny somebody?
I believe that if a company is promoting themselves as offering some concept of safety to their customers, I think that is something that they should be held to, whether or not there is like one line in a policy, buried in.
Good things come to those who wait.
Destiny's making another 50 cents right here because I have to click skip.
But great things?
Pages upon pages that maybe exempts them from a small amount of coverage.
Yeah, just to piggyback on that, some of these, you filled this out wrong, are tantamount to the voter, tests that they used to have for Black people in the.
I'm sorry, I'm going to need an example of that where we were filling out a convoluted test, and then that is the incorrect form. And that's
so
not
you can look at
the
amount of paperwork for any of these cases, and they're specific on policy records. I believe McKinsey documents have promoted this. Or if you don't want to go back to auto insurance, we can just talk about the fact that these companies do share practices. It's like one of the only antitrust laws they can get around is to make the documentation more complicated and more difficult to fill out, and to delay those claims as long as possible for whatever reason you can. So they already delay them when they know they're justified in paying them out for if someone had an alibi, if they thought they might have committed arson fraud, if someone had some sort of a health issue where they produced all of the medical documents necessary to show that they actually do have that condition and they do need that care. Already at that point, they are denying those claims just to prolong and fight and make that litigation cost those people more, to take that money and to invest that float for extra interest in the long term.
They don't make money. They don't make money on these filings are public where they make money. They don't make a lot of money on investments. That's just not the case. There's because the money that comes in and out of these companies is moving so quickly. They don't invest a ton of this money and make a ton of profit this way.
That is how they get rid of that's how they get around the fact that their ratio of payouts to claims can be over 100%. That's the only way they can make profit otherwise.
Okay, so there's
I will also note the NICA or NAIC, the National
No, finish your point, then Ukerist. Finish your point, then Ukerist. I'm just trying to go ahead.
Oh, okay, sorry. The National Association of Insurance Commissioners. Sorry, I have my notes down here. That's why I'm reading. They actually have a model of it's Model Unfair Claims Settlement Practices Act, and under it, it actually lists a bunch of different unfair practices that are utilized by insurance agencies, and that it includes not attempting in good faith to effectuate prompt, fair, and equitable settlement of claims submitted in which liability has become reasonably clear. And this is one of, I believe, 15 different unfair practices that are utilized by insurance companies that actively go against this. This
Buckaroo, I will add that they will only punish you if they can establish that's a commonplace business practice. If you do it once or twice, they will not punish you for that.
Ukerist, go ahead.
Yeah, there's like multiple levels here that are difficult, because one of the things we're dealing with is when we look up like how often do insurance companies deny these claims, the numbers for that are not always good or useful.
They're not available, actually.
Exactly, right. So when we get numbers, they're from publicly available databases or reporting and things like this that don't come directly from the company, right? So that's maybe a problem. But they're also
there, Professor, because it's not
you gotta let you.
Okay, I'll write it down. Sorry, go ahead.
They're also only tangentially useful sometimes, because some of those numbers include things like denial for pre-authorization, failure to file pre-authorization requests, and those typically get hashed out between insurer and hospital, not at the patient level. So usually, like if you get something in the mail that says your claim was denied because there was no pre-authorization request, you'll sometimes see something at the bottom that says something like patient is not liable for blah blah blah, because that's something that gets hashed out. The hospital should have asked the insurance before they did it, they didn't, and then they hash it out, right? So that gets included in that bucket of denials. And so what we're just concerned about is like percentage of denied claims and how many of those are claims that should have been approved. What we're saying is we're looking for the percentage of denied claims that are actually fraudulent, which is we are contracted to cover this. You have shown that this should be covered, and we're not going to pay it anyway. And so that's what we're looking for within that big number, and it's hard to find, and because, as you said, the numbers are not available. That is another issue, right? Because
I want to jump in on that. It's like the reason the numbers are not available is because these insurance companies lobby to make sure that they do not have to publish them.
Sure. You know who else is lobbying to make sure they don't have to publish them, though, is labor unions. There's an article I'll send you guys later if you want. ProPublica has done a series of essays on this.
But the point is that the NAIC is the only people to get this. They report it to them privately. They're not even a governmental institution. You can get accounts from the people who work at this place, and they say that like you said, the data is overlapping. It's ambiguous. They don't all use the same reporting standards. And finally, there are companies that do transparently release this data. One actually that I know of called Chubb, and it's the most transparent, and it's lets the best consumer to insure relationship. It costs a little more, but it is completely possible for all of these people to release all of their data.
Yeah, all of this is, hold on just real quick. All of this is nice, good, interesting information. It's connected to the topic at hand, but the topic at hand is, let's just cede all of that ground, right? The health insurance companies are bad. They do bad things.
You can't see the ground, because this is literally where the conversation is and where it needs to happen. Because if it is the case, because the problem is that on
let them keep going. Moderator, just chill, bro.
end, you've got this caricaturized version of health insurers who are just like, the only way we can make money is by denying everybody all their claims all the time. We do it maliciously and evilly and whatever. And like, that's on one end. And then on the other end, it's like, okay, well, you've got businesses that function in like the most heavily regulated environment, probably of all U.S. businesses, probably in all industry in the United States. And denials happen. Like even Medicare and Medicaid have double-digit denial rates. And like this is just part of operating in this industry. So like if we're all, I think, because I imagine even Ukerist, I imagine you would agree that if it was the case that health insurance companies were just arbitrarily, maliciously, and evilly denying people claims for literally no reason, but just to watch people die, make more money, in that case, if a guy gets whacked or whatever, I don't know, maybe.
Well, hold on, who's claiming? I would want to argue even in that case that they're like, you should be prosecuting for the fraud that's happening, right? Which is exactly what was happening with the lawsuit against Brian and other people for insider trading, right? That to the extent that UHC is actually committing fraud on the level you guys are alleging, there are legal avenues.
Fraud against other rich people. That's like if you look at any CEO that's ever been prosecuted for any of these things, at least what I could find, 9/10 of like every single article is all, oh, you were defrauding investors, and the one person who ever actually went to jail. I don't have it right in front of me. Let's see right here. Yeah, Kothari and McMenamin, who just like were so egregiously lying about their claims, making up numbers completely, that it was prosecuted. Everything else is the status quo, and that's kind of the point, is that you can deny all these claims. You can implement these computer systems that group people and segment them into these groups that don't make sense on an individual one-to-one basis, and it's not illegal. It's not considered immoral. I mean, we have two people right now arguing that it's totally okay. In the meantime, these people are just dying. And I'm not saying
this doesn't happen. You're lying when you hold on. What percentage of insurance denials are just like denying people necessary care and then they die? If you had to guess, like what do you feel like?
We don't know. They don't release the numbers.
Guess, but you have a strong feeling you think a CEO should die over it. So tell me what you in your head, like what's your intuition? Like what do you think is around?
Let me be clear. I don't actually necessarily even support the murder. I don't know if I want to live in a world where the
way
that
I still want to know intuitively, what do you think is like the amount of arbitrary bullshit denials and then people are like dying or having severely horrible adverse outcomes for denials that are
what number would I have to say for you to change your mind?
I mean, I think any number is not necessarily good, and I think we should probably seek to reform the industry. But like in my mind, this number is probably like I would say easily less than 10%, probably less than 5% in terms of like probably less than 1%. But if
where's that coming from? Because I have no idea. I'm not going to say
fact that it's like the most heavily regulated industry in
what
the United States.
What do you think that means when you say it's the most heavily regulated?
As in, there's a ton of like paperwork, there's a ton of information that's required to be like, for instance, somebody said earlier that claims are rejected for no reason. That's not even possible. Under the ACA, you literally have to. You have to provide a reason for rejecting a claim. It's a requirement.
Oh, to be clear, that the claim was all other reasons.
I don't think that was a gift. I don't think you can reject.
You can reject a delay.
I don't think you can just reject for no reason for all reasons.
No, I'm not saying for no reason. I'm saying for all other reasons. I think it's just, at least in the data that was being sourced.
Hold on, other than fraud,
it was used.
Buckaroo. Other than fraud, what do you think would be a legitimate reason for a health insurance company to deny a claim? What would give me an example of what you would think would be a legitimate, non-fraudulent reason where the healthcare insurance provider can and should say, we're not covering that?
I think if somebody's trying to jump the gun on treatment options, for example, they want to skip over like all of the preventative options and go straight to the most extreme option that also happens to be more expensive because it's utilizing more expensive technology, I would say that's worth denying, because I think people should be trying to take an exhaustive approach, or at least like attempting some sort of approach to preventative care before seeking out the most expensive options. I think a lot of elective surgeries, whether or not I agree with all the classifications of elective surgeries, I think there are a lot of elective surgeries that are just fine to be denied because, I don't think everybody needs to have a nose job. Not everybody needs to have, elective surgeries. I mean, I could go down a list of them.
Wait,
but
just as a real quick audience thing. An elective surgery is just something that's not life-threatening. It's not always a cosmetic surgery. So, for instance, if you have like a bone that's like broken or didn't heal right, or it's kind of like fucked, but it's not like threatening your life, you can schedule that surgery. That's not like a cosmetic surgery, like an elective surgery. Assuming it's not like a life.
Well, this is a part of why I'm talking about surgeries that are talking about options that are not taking an exhaustive effort to their like preventative care and to appropriate care at first, because perhaps what they actually need is a cast first, but they're refusing a cast and they want to have the surgery instead. I think there are a lot of different circumstances in which there are surgeries that may or may not be covered for good reason. Ukerist, you look like you have a thought.
Yeah, I do. I guess my question for you all related to what Destiny said is like, well, I imagine if we all agree, if there is this amount of thing happening, well, probably good that this guy got captured or whatever. I guess I'm wondering what the threshold is for you guys. Like what level of harm or fraud you think justifies these things. And so this is for all of you, but for Soy Pill specifically, I did watch your video on this. And you have the section where you bring up Hannah Arendt's Eichmann in Jerusalem. Very interesting section. And one thing that I quoted, I hope I'm quoting it correctly, you bring up this thing that she's talking about effectively, which is that there were thousands of office workers within the Third Reich who were completely removed from any death or killing and were just as responsible for making those deaths happen. And your summary basically is sometimes evil is just a pencil pushing nerd. And I'm just wondering, first, what is the threshold of evil enough that we think somebody should be, hauled in front of a trial and executed or potentially executed on the street? And then who in the system of banal evil is eligible for extrajudicial assassination? Now, if I accept your premise that lots of evil is pencil pushing nerds in this healthcare system that we all agree is very extensive, right? It's hospitals, it's insurers, it's the government, it's everybody. So which of these people can I just tap if I want to? Right?
Okay,
do you guys know the names of other C-suite executives at United? Do you know who?
No, they took them all down, so we can't. But
do you want to like which of these people? Right.
Right. So first of all, I want to clarify. I don't necessarily want to live in a world where the only way to get change is to cap people in the back of the head. I still have some hope that there is a way to work within the system. I'm just saying that the people who do view this man as a hero do not feel as if they can live to see that change, or do not believe that change is possible. So just to get that out of the way, that's my position. Second of all, when you are in a position of power, whether or not you are on the internal committee that is deciding whether or not to use these systems that are arbitrarily denying people, and like I said, I think Destiny, you mentioned like, oh, they're these evil healthcare companies, they're wringing their hands. Like, I don't believe necessarily that they're viewing it that way as this like, oh yeah, how many people can we kill today? It's a matter of turning people into numbers and disassociating from the humanity of those people, right?
This is what every single system necessarily has to do, right? Why do you say that? Like turning people into numbers. The government will have to do this as well. Every single
no, it doesn't, because other insurance companies have the responsibility to give out the money that they promise their people, and they just do it, and they make less money, and it's not for profit, and that's how nonprofits work.
The government would have to run under a certain budget as well. They might not be paying a profit, but they're going to be given a budget by the government that they have to come in under, right?
Sure.
Yeah. Just to be clear, I have a different argument that's relying on the incentive structure on how these people are treated, not necessarily that they're being treated as numbers. Or
can I make my last point, Ash, and then let you join in? Because he asked me like, at what point can I kill someone? And if you look at the agents, the adjusters, and their incentives in the structure, yeah, there's cash for making the company perform well, have better profits incentives. They are specifically quotes. I could get a quote here. I don't have it off the top of my head, but essentially people are fired for not adhering to the system. So if the like Colossus system, that's one of the computer systems they use, says, hey, you should deny this person care, they review it and say, I actually don't think this deserves a denial, they could be fired for that. So I don't think those people are nearly as responsible. They're not the ones making the decisions. They're not the ones implementing these systems, and they're fully aware. Brian Thompson is someone who worked his way up through the company, saw the top to bottom structure, and then got to the point where he could make change. He could say, hey, I don't think these systems are good. I think we're denying too many people care. I think that we should be more responsible to the people that deserve payouts. And he didn't. So he is like definitely at least above the threshold. Again, I don't necessarily mean he deserves to die, but I consider him much more responsible. Sorry,
just a quick thing. When you say that people are being denied based on some system or some area, or whatever, what do you think it's using to deny those people? What do you think it's weighing there generally?
It's a ton of things. I mean, for example, again, if you keep jumping on this because it's car insurance, it's just one to know.
No, car insurance doesn't count because car insurance is not anywhere near as heavily regulated as medical insurance. It's a much different thing.
Okay, so then I don't know the specifics of any of the ones except the Colossus system, which I know is flags and it's based on car insurance. So what are the other ones, if you know?
Although it is relating to health insurance, to be clear, it is still the insurance industry as it relates to the health of the individual claimant that is pursuing some sort of medical care.
2024 has been a year of bright spots, man.
Or some sort of reimbursement for their medical care.
Buckaroo, do you think that an auto insurance guy bears responsibility for someone gets in an accident, they get injured because of that accident, the auto insurance guys don't pay the repair bill for whatever reason?
Well, I'm still talking about how it relates to health insurance, to be clear. I'm not talking about the repair bill for the car. I'm talking about the health insurance, the insurance that relates to the health of the claimants that may or may not have been injured in the accident in the first place.
Yeah, and the car insurance has to pay out for auto injuries, so it's still part of their health.
Exactly. Car insurance is health insurance. It's just also car insurance. It depends on if your health your level of health or what an injury is related to a car accident.
If they delay or deny claims on whiplash, which is the minor impact surgical tissue or whatever it is, soft tissue, that can make your if you don't get that repaired in the 3-month window, that can make your condition permanent. Or
so are they? Again, are they on the chopping block, or are they on the wanted posters?
I'm actually glad you asked this because I did want to put in my 2 cents as well. I think almost anybody participating in the medical and insurance industry could bear maybe like 1 penny of claim.
What about the lawyers defending those?
But this is why I think there is like a fundamental issue with the insurance companies and with the system of healthcare that we have in the United States, and why I believe that more individualized care and more direct interactions between providers and the people buying.
I'm sure everybody on this panel
like I said, this is what I mean though. I think everybody.
Everyone stop, because I'm trying to get some clear answers. So the auto insurance, they're on the hook. The lawyers for these insurance companies, they're on the hook. What about reporters and things who paint insurance companies in a positive light? Are they on the hook?
I mean,
kill them. I'm just kidding.
Again, I don't even know if I agree with the statement on the hook, because I think this is a system that is perpetuated by almost every single person who participates within it. I don't think there's one person that you could say, this is a one person that if he's gone, then everything's perfectly resolved, which is also why I presented my my issue with the whole conversation in the first place as a result of the treatment of claimants of treatments of claimants. I think it's less just a conversation about justification, but more about cause and effect. If there are people who feel like they've been wronged at such an extreme level, I think they're going to have some sort of negative reaction. And after about 3 decades of the implementation of delay, deny, defend, as proposed by the McKinsey & Company, the consulting company that a lot of these insurance agencies specifically sought out, I think that is a huge part of what's perpetuated these issues now. And I think a great way to resolve it would be to reform the whole system.
Okay. Ash, you've been trying to get in. Sorry.
Just briefly, I'm sure that we could all agree that if somebody is engaged in fraud, then whatever the punishment we decide is appropriate for that person, it's going to be based on proximity to their responsibility for the fraud. United Health Group employs something like 440,000 people. I'm sure that we could agree that if somebody is closer than not, or has more decision-making power within the company, Brian Thompson is, would you disagree that he's within the top 1,000 of those 440,000?
He's certainly more influential than the person.
Would it be unreasonable to say the top 100 or even maybe the top 20? Who would you kill if you were Luigi?
Wait. It depends on what you mean by like decision-making process. So like like a manager or a chief executive officer might be making more broad level decisions in a company, but they might be further removed from like an individual making a fraudulent decision. Let's say you literally have a store called like Morals Are Us, and it's the most moral CEO ever, and you've got like a frontline employee who like intentionally swaps medications for people at the pharmacy just to watch them die. We wouldn't say that the CEO is responsible for that individual's criminal act as contrary to the law and company policy, right?
And in the same sense, going back to the Eichmann in Jerusalem situation, right? We just recently hauled another Nazi prison guard before a court who has managed to outlive his years, right? He was like a 17-year-old Nazi prison guard, right? We prosecuted people who were at the lowest rungs of this, just implementing what their superiors said. That's the point of the whole Eichmann comparison, right?
Well,
so I don't know if I can
watch and maybe kill Jews
applying the algorithm, right? If the algorithm is so evil and it's defrauding people at this grand scale, the person who's on the phone saying, "Yeah, man, your claim is denied. I can't do anything about it. I check the box and it spit out the output. What can I do about it, man?" Like, is that person any less complicit in the scheme you guys are developing? I'm not sure. Like,
well, yeah, because they're livelihood is on the line in terms of changing it. Like, they will literally.
So was the Nazi prison guard. Like, I don't.
Yeah, I say a Nazi prison guard is just as responsible, and we'd have to.
I don't have an argument based on the Nazi prison guard. I'm just going based off of modern.
I don't have Nazis in any of my arguments. To be clear, at no point did I study Nazis for this.
Well, I'm implicating you in Soy Pill's argument. Okay, he put a video on the internet. You're on his side in this debate, and you get it all.
You gotta do
no, I'm innocent. I swear.
I guess I still have not heard like a very convincing like here's why I can't kill a mid-level manager at UHC. Okay, wait, another question I have then on this same line, right?
Wait, can I invoke a Nazi
personally
argument?
just think you should.
Because we want to talk about Nazis. Do you know?
Sure, go ahead and invoke the Nazi argument. Then I have a question.
Sorry to interrupt, but do you know the indie movie Schindler's List?
Yeah.
You know how Oskar Schindler probably couldn't overthrow the entire Nazis, but had plenty of options as the head of a company to save people, to defy them, to subvert them at every possible moment without actually dying, and he did that.
Sure. Yeah.
So, do you think that Brian Thompson could have done that?
No.
Chill. That feeling you get when you're on budget and on cloud nine.
Ooh, Destiny just made 50 cents.
No. Why not?
Because you can't even list a single way in which he could have. One, he's not even the person that shot calling in terms of like what the company's doing, right? Like,
you don't think a CEO has any influence on the company? I'm aware that there's
a fired, right? What do you mean?
What? No, I'm just saying that a CEO has influence over what the company does. If he's promoting the AI system, I mean, you can tell me that he was just like a pretty face to promote that system. I don't know. I don't think so. I think he was.
Yeah, but hold on. When you say AI system, so
does.
We're all young. None of us are 75 years old here. Okay, I don't think AI needs to be like the scary word that makes something automatically bad.
Okay, well, since it's a computer system, they've been using them for 30 years, and they've been overly denying people.
Overly denying.
They have quotes from people in the industry that they are not fair to the standard of what a normal adjuster would say. These are from people in the industry are saying this. So if they know,
some more of those things about car insurance. Again, this is all built on the idea that like these companies are maliciously and evilly just denying people.
It's not malicious.
No reason.
Well, first of all, you could say it's malicious, but I'm just saying that they're using these systems under the guise of, hey, we want to reduce our administrative costs. But you can look and they know in this Senate report that literally came out 2 months ago, they see that the costs that they're saving on their administrative costs are like $2 million. The cost that they're saving because of denials from the system they're using is like in the 10 times magnitude, 100 times magnitude.
But that doesn't even make sense. That doesn't even make sense because if they decrease their administrative costs, they would have to pay back premiums to the customers. Because if your administrative costs get too low, you have to pay out 80% of all of your premiums as healthcare costs. So if you would reduce your administrative costs too much, and then that would to decrease, and you were like making more money than you're supposed to, you have to pay the premiums back. Companies have done this before. You can't just hoard premiums from customers. You have to pay this out to people.
And they do pay out a certain amount of claims. This is not about them denying literally every single claim, but that they are denying what I believe and what Soy Pill believes, and I just remember that Ash had something to say after this.
But
they are still denying what I believe to be a wrongfully high percentage of claims.
High percentage, like what kind of claims? How do we even know that? How do we even quantify that?
We can't say wrongfully high because they won't release the data.
So then how can you justify killing somebody?
I just have a part of my issue.
Easy.
Yes, I would agree with that. I also just have
Less
issues
murder,
with
more data. Let's go.
Yeah. Oh, also, I will note I'm not in support of murdering. I think choosing other options is usually the best choice. I think murder is bad, but I do think it happens nonetheless.
We have to do a little throat clearing, but we all get what you're trying to say. Let's give it to Ash. Ash has some things to say, and he's been trying to get in. Go ahead.
Yeah, just briefly, these rebates are the means by which these companies make up for their administrative costs. Because they have to file at the end of the year, sorry, not the end of the year, I think their fiscal year, whatever is July 31st is their filing deadline. Though if they file by, I believe it's September 15th, it's still considered on time. If you were to, let's say, hypothetically, deny or just delay claims by denying them, let them go through arbitration, whatever, you kick them back and forth and back and forth. And eventually towards the end of the year, you find that, hey, some of these claims, actually, if we pay these out, we're going to get a lot closer to our proper ratio of administrative costs. We might be a little bit over the line, but we can issue those as rebates. And by rebates here, we're looking at $54 checks to every single customer within the within their group of policyholders, right? Basically to every single customer of that company.
That's an interesting hypothesis, but then we should be able to do a very easy study and show, are you more likely to have a claim denied in the beginning or end of the year? We should be able to see that. Like, I would show very easily, right?
How would we do that? Wait, how would we do that?
You could survey customers, you could survey hospitals, you could survey, what do you mean? There's a million ways you can measure that. When did you have a healthcare claim denied? Yes or no? And you say yes.
Yeah,
when
but
did
what
you
correlation are you looking for?
Well, if you're saying that people are going to deny claims at the beginning of the year and then wait until the end of the year to decide whether or not they're going to accept it or something.
Did I make that argument that all claims are going to be denied at the beginning of the year?
You made it sound like they would wait until the end of the year to determine whether or not they wanted to accept or reject some percentage of claims.
No, that would be patently absurd. You would pay as you go, and you would have a ratio that gets you closer and closer to that 80% ratio, but not too much over that, because then you've basically screwed yourself out of some administrative costs that you can manage. And then on top of that, you have unfulfilled claims at the end of the year because they're being arbitrated or being denied by automated systems or by systems that you've set up previously. And then you're over. It's operating under Price is Right rules, where you want to get as high as possible, but not too high, not over.
Sure, but I mean, this is going to be done on a rolling month. Why would you have to wait till the end of the year for that? You just like check month to month to see how your like administrative cost premiums are, right?
So if you're doing it month to month, are you going to go over every single?
You're probably going to try to stay right within where you need to be every single month.
I would think that you would go a little bit lower if you have an easy out provided to you by the government that lets you hit that 80% ratio exactly on the dime.
Yeah, but that's because you're assuming, yes, but this is getting back to the other question. You're assuming then at the end of the year that they would just arbitrarily deny things for no reason just to maintain some thing, and nobody's demonstrated
I don't have to assume that at all. We know that denials happen all throughout the year. We know that some percentage of these denials stay denied because people just don't go through the administrative hassle or stress of arguing back and forth with their insurance company that, yes, I actually do need this surgery. I was in a car accident. This is covered. I would like, yes, something is wrong with my spine. 20 doctors have confirmed it. Sure, I'll go see your doctor 2.5 hours away if I must.
Choose Winters and Yonker, and we will
send Winters and Yonker
an attorney to you. You will sit down with that attorney.
I do think that goes again, once again, back to
it sounds like, just real quick, it sounds like your issue, it sounds like
75% at the end of the fiscal year, and for them to have a means to make up that remaining 5% at the end of the year.
Yeah, so the one example you just gave was somebody saying 20 out-of-network doctors were going to an in-network doctor, then pay for a different insurance. Or
I've never said out-of-network doctor. That's just something that you made up.
What do you mean?
Fucking Blummels, what's up, bro? Thanks for joining us. We're checking out a debate with Destiny. There's like 5 other people in this motherfucker too. But yeah, I was Friday. I was just talking about just throwing out ideas and philosophy related to the justification of the Luigi Mangione situation and whatever. And this debate happened last night, so I figured it was topical. But yeah, I only caught the Q&A part of the Q&A of this, so I haven't seen any of this. It's getting interesting.
Well, most insurance is provided by employers, to be clear. So you can't always just buy different insurance. It would include.
Yeah, this is what I was talking about with Tampa Terry when he called in. That a lot of people, and again, I don't have that much experience with this. I've never had insurance pay, through an employer, but I've always worked for every business I've worked for is a small business, like very small. So, but yeah. This is part of the issue too with people, Terry was like, oh, well, why, if your insurance doesn't cover whatever, you can just get fucking Obamacare, fucking bullshit free insurance from the government or something. And it's like, dude, a lot of people are just, they get whatever their employer offers them.
Going to a different employer that buys different insurance packages and then offers you insurance.
No, I'm just talking about like you get a physical exam from several different doctors and your treatment, which is a surgery, gets denied.
Why would you get a physical exam from several different doctors, and then if they recommended a treatment that you need?
How about if the insurance company requests it from you because that's their condition for the denial or the adjudication or arbitration of this denial to proceed to the next step?
And then after the 20 that they requested, then you have to go to the one other one that they wanted to see.
That would be pretty fucking absurd, and it's why an insurance company lost in a lawsuit describing this exact situation, which is why people are pissed off, by the way. You don't actually need to have a 10%
So because somebody got sued once for an issue, that means that it's an industry-wide norm? Like I can show you, hold on, I'm curious. Will you acknowledge that there are patients that scam doctors and insurance companies for medication?
100%, and hospitals.
And there are hospitals that scam patients as well, and there are doctors that scam hospitals by overcharging.
The recent anesthesia problem.
Okay, yeah, but we wouldn't say that. But we wouldn't say that all of these systems are corrupt because sometimes people scam people, right?
I didn't argue that at all. I just said that they had a financial incentive to act poorly because they had a get out of jail free card at the end of the year provided to them by the government.
I don't think you can defraud somebody of their insurance, and as long as you hit that 80-20 ratio, you get out of jail free. You still have to give a reason why you deny people their claims. You have to give a reason for it. It's part of the law.
Sure, absolutely. And the hassle
could you explain what
some of those denials being dropped? If you want to say that's not true, that's fine. If you want to say like, hey, I don't think that this is a widespread problem, there's actually nothing going wrong here at all, that's totally fine. Just live with it is an acceptable answer. The problem is this shooting is a referendum on just live with it.
No, it's not. It's a crazy, random, rich loser guy who had no negative experiences with unaffordability of healthcare, unattainability of healthcare, who's wanted to kill somebody to get famous. That's all he's doing.
I don't think those are mutually exclusive at all.
Do you think that's why he killed him, to get famous?
Yeah, of course. What do you mean? What do you think his reason was?
I don't know. Did you read the book that he read? Yeah, I like the. Do you think he wrote
the book that he read? He did write a manifesto.
Yeah, he wrote a manifesto.
Say why he did it, right?
He tried to remain anonymous. Like he didn't. Like they caught him. It wasn't like, hey, look at me, everybody. Like, where's that?
The guy that wrote the manifesto tried to remain anonymous.
Wasn't released until they captured him. Yeah.
Okay.
Let's be clear. My argument doesn't believe on that. I don't think that those are mutually exclusive at all. He's definitely a weird, crazed weirdo.
I far prefer Ash's way of thinking about this in terms of incentive structures. I think it is perfectly reasonable to think, hey, there's a system here that might incentivize certain insurance companies to sometimes deny claims that they should otherwise pay out, assuming that even if the person appeals it, they will have to pay it out because they just expect the person not to appeal it. This definitely happens in car insurance. It probably happens in health insurance. This is part of the ProPublica reporting. It's a good series. You guys should read it. Like, yeah, it's convoluted and hard to appeal denials of health insurance. Like, sure, that probably happens. There's probably an incentive there.
It's not probably. This is like, there have been McKinsey documents released that prove.
Thank you, promo code. Thanks for hanging with me. Yeah, I appreciate it. Your tune's name is The Bubba Army. DMS hearts to you, Blumels lover.
Official strategy. My question is, even if I concede that, I'm still not sure which parts of this are relevant to who gets the Luigi treatment, right? So you also brought up like institutions treating people as numbers that lead to harm or death. What other industries do this? I'm sure it's more than just health insurance, and I'm sure it's more than just car insurance. Do the CEOs of other companies that treat people as numbers for profit that leads to harm and death, do they get the Luigi treatment too? Right? And again, which parts of the C-suite get the Luigi treatment, right? Where do we cross this threshold, and which of these companies apply? And my other question that I was going to ask earlier, that, and again, I'll try to not, I'm not trying to make you guys Fed post, but like, let's assume that Luigi had attempted his act and had failed. Or had never attempted it at all, and you guys magically did know that Brian Thompson was the CEO of UHC, even though you didn't know that before. Would you be on this panel advocating that somebody go out and give him the Luigi treatment? And if not, why not? And if so, who else is on that list? Like, I just don't know where this principled stance is coming from, that like, this is the thing to do now and it's good and we should praise him for it.
Well, this is the whole second part of my argument. I'm glad you asked. So again, I don't condone necessarily murder, but the reason I don't is because I think we are closer than we ever have been to getting a single payer, except for maybe not ever have been because of who's about to be president. But it is possible to reform within the system. It is possible to elect someone who will actually change this. The issue I have is, while I might not have that issue, what do you tell the people who are dying and suffering today because of these policies? What are they supposed to do to fight this? Because you can say, hey, in 2 years, maybe we'll have someone who changes this. In 4 years, AOC is going to be president. Maybe she'll, do some crap. But like, what the hell do you tell the person today that their mom is being denied her medication and dying? That is not getting
the reality is, the problem is that that's just probably not really happening. This is a fabrication that you're putting in front of people because it sounds good, because very few of you, if any of you, and you even have engagement with the healthcare system. This didn't even crack the top 5 issues that Americans voted on last election cycle. This is
no one knows.
No one knows that everybody in the US is dying because they can't get medication. How is
it? Say everybody. How is it that you? First of all, the number is like 40,000, and that's probably inflated.
How is it that people in Colorado and Pennsylvania and Michigan are somehow convinced that illegal immigration is one of the worst issues facing this country, but they don't know that health insurance and healthcare?
That's what people are talking about, and now we're talking about healthcare. And if a bunch more people did that, maybe they would have voted on that in the election, but they didn't. No one did. Like I said, you had no videos on it before. A lot of people weren't talking about this.
Sure, and if nobody's talking about it, what would that lead you to believe? It seems like it's probably not having the impact that you're trying to make us believe. But the only way you can get somebody to care about a particular, you don't have to talk about inflation.
Are you implying that if no one's talking about something, it's not happening?
What I'm implying.
When's the last time you saw them talk about climate change?
Climate change is talked about almost constantly. What are you talking about? It was part of major legislative packages that Biden passed.
On Fox News. They're talking about the problem that climate change is. They're talking about, wow, the climate's really in trouble and we really need to do something about it.
They're probably getting opinion. They're probably anti-climate change, but they're probably
they bring up the Biden bill, they dismiss it immediately, and then they don't talk about it again. And
there's literally 5 articles in the past 2 days. Blue state governor's climate law applied to get left.
Yeah, they're all talking about how much they hate the people trying to solve climate change. They're not really talking about.
I can tell that she has a great sense of humor, but she hasn't told me a joke yet.
Want a career as a pet psychic? We're not.
Climate change is the effects.
But the point that I'm giving you is that if nobody's even really talking about this until somebody gets killed, it's kind of...
Dude, this is one of those things I don't I don't know if I agree with Destiny here. He's saying that if this isn't a thing anybody voted on, this isn't something that a bunch of people are talking about. And like I said, the Luigi Mangione situation, the act he did to Brian Thompson, taking him out, that has shined light on a bunch of this. And I think it's there's a lot of people talking about this now due to that. That is one effect of the assassination. I almost threw up in my mouth. Fucking but yeah, I don't know if I agree with him here. I mean, there's plenty of shit that a bunch of people go through that sucks, that they just don't fucking talk. People don't fucking talk about their medical issues with each other. I don't feel like that's like a huge thing, that it's like, everyone's dying. Well, no pun intended, but everyone's dying to fucking complain to their friends about, oh yeah, this is some fucking complicated story about, yeah, so my mom had to get whatever the fuck surgery, and then this happened, and the insurance company was supposed to cover this, but then they didn't cover that, and then my mom was on, it's just like, I feel like it's a complicated thing. It's not something that's so simple that, a lot of people would, it'd be easy to talk about. I don't know. It's something, I feel like not so much the stigma aspect, like mental health or something. Like you could say, how many fucking people suffer from depression. It's not like everybody's talking about it together, how fucking depressed they are. They go to their doctor and bitch to their doctor, and then go to a psychiatrist and whatever, I don't know. He might have a point though. I mean, it's not like there's probably, to be fair, there's probably a small, and I hesitate to even say this, but it's probably a small percentage of people that are, quote, dying. Okay, I mean, I for sure people are suffering with delayed treatment and that kind of thing. For sure that's happening. I don't know how many deaths you could really tie to this, but again, how many, it's like how he asked Destiny before, how many deaths would make you happy for me to start arguing pro vigilante justice? And Destiny didn't really give a number either. He's like, oh yeah, one sucks. Yeah, one person dying, that's terrible, but it's like, no one knows how big of an issue this is. Again, the insurance companies are fucking hiding their information.
Kind of strange to come and be like, oh yeah, healthcare is like killing tens of thousands of people in the United States every single year.
Well, I think are being talked to.
Finish a sentence before I get cut off. Holy shit. The issue is that you're on one hand, we're saying that healthcare and denials and claims are poor moms, because this is the example you keep giving. Poor moms are dying because they're not getting their pharmaceutical, whatever they need, because health insurance companies are arbitrarily denying them these things. I feel like if this was happening at an appreciable level and aren't just like horrible mistakes or companies individually just making bad decisions or wrong decisions, if this is like a norm in the industry, we'd be hearing about this a ton. It wouldn't just be an issue that's being brought up now because Luigi shot some dude.
Yeah, did you read the Senate report on this?
Summarize it for me. What is the Senate report on this you want to summarize?
Yeah, so essentially they investigated that the post-acute care that's supposed to be provided to people was being denied at rates like 3, 4, 16 times higher than the normal denial rate after these systems were implemented. Post-acute care being denied does end up permanently hurting people, taking all the money out of their pocket, or killing them. Do you deny that that's true?
I don't deny that a Senate report said it. Wait, so real quick.
Here, I'll link it to you.
Yeah, go for it. Yeah, go ahead and I'll go through it. Wait, is this one released on October 17th? Okay, sorry, go for it.
Yeah, that's one. You got it.
Okay.
I would also just like to note, I think part of the reason that we see, I mean, first off, I would argue that right now we're in, over the past 2.5 decades, we're actually seeing an all-time low in the American opinion of their health insurance. I would also like to note that that insurance agencies actually spend a large portion of their profit, or I guess not profit, of their revenue on advertising, explicitly because a lot of what an insurance agency is selling, it isn't actually something tangible. It's the feeling of safety. It's the idea that you can go out and drive, and maybe if you end up in a horrible accident, you're not going to be fucked up the ass because of it. So I think that has to be considered when you're talking about the American public's perception of insurance agencies as a whole. That's why they spend so much money, and I think that's also why they report themselves to be, a friendly neighbor. Why they say that you're in good hands. Why they have a cute little gecko that's selling you something, and they have amazing jingles for every single one.
So just to kind of put things into context, while it perhaps may be true that we are at an all-time low, at least in America, for how they perceive the healthcare system, when you ask people how they perceive their individual healthcare coverage, it's 60 to 70% approval rates, right? Like a majority of people like the coverage that they get. And
I do think Destiny's statement that a lot of people don't actually have that much interaction with their coverage in the first place goes to explain that. A lot of people don't have to make claims, and a lot of people aren't making claims until part of the way, a considerable way through their life in the first place. So I
Yesterday at 1500 hours, a convoy was attacked passing through Asara's east.
Why am I even getting this? Like, why am I getting this ad? I don't play games. Delta Force game. What kind of fucking bundle of sticks do you take me for?
Understand, but I don't know if that actually goes to address the whole issue.
Well, what does that say if the people that are the most supportive of Luigi are young people who don't really engage with healthcare that much in the United States?
I think it says that a lot of people feel really disenfranchised with the future of health in America. I think there have been, obviously tensions have been rising politically across the board, and I think a lot of people are scared that they won't be able to afford their future healthcare, especially seeing as technology advances in a lot of different aspects of the application of their healthcare.
Wait, so people are worried because they think they won't be able to afford it in the future, but the people that are currently engaging with the medical systems have a higher opinion.
All the people that would have voted yes died because of denial. So,
well, like I said, I think a lot of the people that are voting yes probably don't have as intimate understanding and experience with the insurance industry as a whole, because I covered earlier about 80% of claims are approved. It's not that every single claim is being denied.
I just have such people right now are disaffected with every possible institution, right? Ratings for every institution at all levels are kind of at all-time lows when it comes to trust. And healthcare, based on the stats Wick just gave us, I haven't actually looked at this particular stat, seems to be doing better than...
Justifiably, yes, a lack of faith for every fucking institution. Yes, sir.
Almost any other institution. So, people are bummed right now about a lot of things, but a lot of that is vibes, and a lot of that is not actual, it doesn't actually track reality always. And so I don't know why I should hang my hat on, people...
Oh, yeah?
Are sometimes bummed about it. The people who are most bummed, as Destiny is saying, are the people who are least involved with it right now, who know the least about it. Well, I don't particularly care. I think there's merit to some of what you guys are saying. Hey, we should see more of the data about whose claims are getting denied and why. There are provisions in the ACA that could allow us to see more of this data that, for whatever reason, for various reasons, lobbying and everything else, have not been chased down. So maybe we can push for that, right? But I'm just not seeing where in this whole conversation we're having, we've crossed the threshold of now you get the Luigi treatment. And I don't see you all grappling really effectively with the actual implications of saying, well, the Luigi treatment, at least in this case, was justified. Because I'm just not seeing any serious wrestling with what else is justified on the arguments you're giving me.
I just like to know, again, I don't think that anybody should be going out and getting murdered. I personally am against murder in basically all the options. If we can exhaust, just like with healthcare, if we can exhaust all the other options first, I want to do that first. This is why I in my opening, and I keep going back to it, I think this is a result of tensions. I think this is a result of the modernization of society leading to higher rates of political violence in the first place. And I think I think health insurance agencies, I think companies in general should keep in mind that they are, at the end of the day, selling to individuals who are going to have feelings. They're going to respond to the feelings, which is why I keep saying murder does happen. Whether or not we justify it or whether or not we think it's morally good, it's going to happen, and there should be mitigating factors.
I'm going to assume that the insurance adjusters have a possibility of social unrest priced into the algorithm they're employing, yeah.
Ash has been raising his hand for a while.
I can do this. I promise you, right? Everyone wants to try to help moderate. I get it. I'll make sure that the people who get to speak are the ones that are...
So when it comes to young people, about 15% of them are being actively treated for mental health issues. That's going to interact with healthcare or health insurance in some way. The reason why fraud and other financial crimes are treated with not just making up for, not making up for the original loss.
Wait, hold on, wait, what was that 15% speaking to? What was the point of bringing that up?
You want to wait until I finish the end of it?
Well, no, because you just lied, kind of. You just implied a falsehood. I said earlier that younger...
It's because Destiny said younger people aren't interacting with the healthcare industry. This guy's arguing, oh, young people have fucking mental problems, and everybody's got fucking diabetes in America now. All the little kids do. They want to put kids on Ozempic. So yeah, they're interacting with the healthcare industry. Here we go.
People generally don't have as much engagement with healthcare as older people, and it feels like you brought that up to try to fight against that claim. Are you fighting against my characterization? Older people have much more engagement with the healthcare system than younger people. So just
older
say that.
People have much more engagement. Older people have much more engagement than young people. Do you have anything else to add?
No, that's good. Make sure we're clear.
Any other confusion about whether the statistic there?
Crystal clear.
Do you have any kind of confusion as to whether or not the statistic is accurate? The 50% of them are interacting with being treated for mental health.
15 or 50?
15. 50 would be really high.
Oh, 15% have what in the past year have sought some kind of treatment? Probably this sounds okay to be sure.
Yeah, so they're interacting with the healthcare industry. And so the point I would bring up is hey, these people are being treated. They're interacting with the healthcare industry. Sorry, I just got back on track. So the reason why financial...
Deep down, we all know what the holidays are about. And it's not the stuff or the style or the...
crimes are treated not...
Destiny just made another 50 cents, guys.
They're not just punished for the original loss. They're not just punished for the time value of money that hasn't been collected in the meantime and other kind of financial stress or emotional stress or whatever, but are often treated with punitive damages, sometimes an order of magnitude in excess of the original claim, is because fraud has a corrosive effect on the rest of business writ large, the rest of culture writ large, society writ large. And that's why we punish them so heavily when we do find, especially insurance companies, one of the great successes of the American legal system is that when these do eventually get to court, a lot of them are really raked over the coals by judges, which is, again, a point in favor of the American legal system. The reason
would that also be a point against the, for example,
against the
extrajudicial killings?
Yes, it would. The reason that happens is, again, because it's corrosive to the rest of people's trust in the in the care that they're engaged with. And the problem there is that healthcare or health insurance, all insurance really, is not just selling risk management, but selling trust. And so if you have this system that's corrosive to social trust writ large, that's going to lead, how many people are not going to appeal claims that could have been sent through because they just don't want to deal with the hassle, or they think that they're going to have to engage in some long drawn out legal battle in order to actually get their needs met? How many people are not going to go to the doctor and not get preventative treatment that might have saved their lives? Because they just
hold on, just real quick to engage with that. How does Luigi doing what he did influence that in a positive manner?
In a positive manner? This dovetails with a few other threads that we were going through earlier, but it puts a face.
I'm giving you this opportunity.
It puts a face to an evil group of people and personalizes it for the rest of society. So now that healthcare, which is this amorphous, problematic issue that a lot of people deal with, a lot of people, by the way, still say they might be happy with their healthcare, but something like 70% of them say that it's stressful or like a major hassle. That percentage of people who are happy with their healthcare overall has gone down significantly just over the past year. The recent Gallup polls have been down about like 10 to 20% across the board. If you just compare it to 2023.
I'm looking at it right here on Gallup. It's a 2% decrease, which is a decrease, but it's not 10, 20 points.
All right.
At least for the Americans' views of the quality and coverage of their own healthcare.
The Ipsos poll went down to...
You keep citing data, but it's not complete data and it's not accurate data. It's data that is very seen through very specific lenses that seem to strengthen your point.
Which is why I offer the competing point that like 3 in 5 Americans view it as being very stressful, which is obviously going to be harmful to their health. Like, obviously. So the whole point of killing somebody in that case and what the effect that has on the conversation is a reminder that the people doing this, whatever this happens to be, have names and addresses. And so that provides people a little bit more leverage, a little bit more negotiating power. I don't think it's right. I definitely want a ceasefire here. But if people are going to defraud and corrode social trust over and over and over again for the hope that they can keep their margins up, then I'm not going to feel bad about it. And that's why you've seen like this outflow of overall support. God, I really wish you hadn't interrupted me in the middle of that. I had a broader point that I forgot.
I have a question. Okay, you're arguing that this incident gives the people who have grievances more leverage in the power struggle of resolving whatever problems exist. Do you think that this gives them more leverage than legal decisions against these companies? So United Health Group, for example, in the past, in the mid-2000s, I believe, if I'm remembering correctly, had a CEO who was ousted through a weird stock buyback fraud thing and was forced to pay back hundreds of millions of dollars of blah, 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 right? That significantly hurt the company, significantly hurt that person, pushed him out of his position, pushed the company to adopt new policies. Do you think that did more damage to the company, or that like killing him at that point would have done it? Or for Brian Thompson, right, who is currently the subject of a lawsuit and an investigation into insider trading and a variety of other alleged crimes, right? Do you think that if that had gone through and had been chased down to its end, that would have given people more leverage, or just shooting them in the back on the street did it? I guess, like, on the question of efficacy, I'm just not convinced by any of you. And it seems like some of you all are saying, well, I don't know if he was justified. I'm not arguing for it, but maybe
No, let me respond to that directly with 2 examples. One, I don't think that it would have provided, I don't think that the lawsuit going forward would have provided anybody leverage. Because again, Brian Thompson, to your point, nobody knew who Brian Thompson was before this at all. The point of leverage is that
if the lawsuit is about internal policies of the company that are ultimately defrauding the customers of the company, and they're being punished for that at a national scale to the tune of hundreds of millions of dollars, does that not help the customers of the company? Like, I just don't understand.
Only if they organize around it, and only if they know that it's happening. But to our earlier points, the reason why so many claims get denied and then do not proceed forward in arbitration whatsoever is because people view it as a hassle. The legal means of legal recourse is viewed.
Holy fucking shit.
It's brutal. So
slow. Oh my God, Destiny, you're just raking in the money here.
Good thing we brought Jersey Mike's.
Jersey Mike's, somewhere that I will never eat ever. Wow, good thing I saw a commercial for this.
As being sometimes above your station or inaccessible for whatever reason. It's unfortunate.
Lenny, what's up, Lenny? Thanks for joining us. What's up? Hi, Steve. Hi, BA. Why do they all sound like Alvin the Chipmunks, Helium, LOL, 2x speed? Yeah, no, I have them at, what do I have them at? 1.5, I think. Yeah, 1.5. I already know Destiny speaks really fast, so I won't put you at 2. I won't put you at 2x for a Destiny video. I will as some other ones. But yeah, I'm trying to get this, we're trying to get through this before, and again, I'm not going to go for the full Q&A part because that part I did watch last night when it was live. But yeah, I'm trying to get through this at a decent time because I do have to go to a friend's place when I leave, when I log off here and eat dinner and all the rest of my bullshit. But yeah, trying to get through this before 9:30, preferably at least before 10. So yeah, if you can bear with it, you get used to it after a minute with the sped up.
It's often, by the way, not true. And it's a shame that people don't proceed with arbitration more often. They would have less hassle if they did take that additional step forward. However,
how do we know? Wait, how do we know that it's not just that most of the claims denied were probably denied for an acceptable reason?
What does acceptable reason mean in this case? That it doesn't harm the person for having it denied, or the delay in their
or that it's not actually eligible under the terms of the contract,
or that a doctor just put in the wrong number. To be clear, there are tons of claims
which gets adjudicated between the doctor and the insurer, or the hospital and the insurer usually, right? So that's the reason these stats are not helpful, right? Is because when it's errors in paperwork or when it's pre-authorization things, these are solved between the provider and the insurance company, not the patient. The patient is not usually liable for things like paperwork errors that you were describing earlier.
Well, that still doesn't go. If the patient doesn't have access to care for some certain, if the patient doesn't have access to care when they need it, it doesn't matter whether or not it was a doctor's fault or the insurance company's fault, or maybe the insurance company is being a little unfair in this one.
I think this guy was making the assumption that the person gets the treatment, and then the hospital goes to get the money from the insurance company, and then it turns out there's some documentation they put, they put typos or whatever the fuck, use the wrong number. Then the hospital doesn't go after the patient for it. Generally, it ends up a fight between the hospital and the insurance company. This lady's arguing that because of errors, typos, whatever the fuck, people can be denied the treatment, period. This guy sounds like he's talking about they already have the treatment and they won't get sued afterward or something.
But it matters. We don't know what these denials happen after the treatment, right? We don't have any numbers about that either. So the majority of these could be denial after treatment is provided. The insurance company comes back and says, we're not going to pay for that. And then the hospital and the insurance company fight it out. We don't have the numbers for this.
Yeah,
right?
they should release this.
Sure, advocate for that.
I do. So the Massachusetts Insurance Fraud Bureau. So this is something that interacts with the companies. The companies report cases that could be fraud from consumers to them. They had 17,274 cases over a 10-year period. And of those, only 368 were actually found to be fraud. So I know that's not reflective of the entire industry. This is just one example, but that is 2% of the entire potential fraud cases. So the other places that were denied, not saying 98% of them were denied for spurious claims, but a good chunk of them probably were. And
wait a second. That number that you just cited, are you trying to convey the idea that the vast majority of what they consider fraud isn't fraudulent?
Yeah.
Okay, and then the proof for that was, tell me exactly what those two numbers are. Is it at $30,000?
So Massachusetts Insured Fraud Bureau. This is in the book that the shooter read, which I would recommend. It's really good. It's a 10-year period, 17,274 cases of reported fraud by the company. 6,600.
When you say cases of reported fraud, these were court cases, or it's just that the company thought that we think that these are probably cases of reported fraud, not
I would guess the latter, because of those, the ones that were accepted by the bureau, the ones that were actually referred to law enforcement were only 552. So of the 552, if you want to use that number, 368 out of 552, that's over 50% of them, but that's still a good chunk of them.
Oh, you see how huge your number? You see how you just went from 2% of those cases to over 50%, where you understand there's a huge difference between they thought something was fraudulent.
Sure, and that's why I said I don't think 98% of them are spurious denials, but I'm just saying that a lot of the suspected fraud is not fraud, and fraud is very rare. And of the ones that actually do go to court, which means it already passed the gate, where they're like, okay, this is definitely something here. Yeah, over 50% of them are done it. I'm not trying to do a sneaky little numbers game here. It's just a matter of the suspected case.
This is sneaky because a lot of different things being said here. A case, do we mean a court case, or do we mean just a suspected case of fraud? I understand. Yes, I understand. But then also, you're not talking about fraud that's actually been committed. Are these cases that are recommended to a DA for criminal prosecution of fraud, where the evidence is going to be
552 is referred to law enforcement authorities for possible prosecution.
Okay, so you're talking about fraud at a criminal level. Of course, that's going to be incredibly difficult to prove. This is a 99% burden. And if they're over 50% on the threshold for that, I guess it's probably 80, 90, 95% of these things that were probably actually fraudulent, right? Because this was proven in criminal court, right? And also, does that 50%, does that include settlements or plea? Oh no, you can't.
I'm a dialect coach.
God damn it! Oh my God, Destiny.
Dialect coach.
Want a career as a dialect coach?
I'm sorry.
Cha-ching! 50 more cents in Destiny's pocket. Congratulations.
Plea deals? Or are these just cases that went to trial and ended in conviction? Or just
I think these are all suspected of criminal fraud.
Okay. Okay, so then assuming then everything that you just said was true, and I'm taking some of these things at face value, and now we've corrected.
It might not be true. I'm reading from the book.
Sure. Over half of the cases that were suggested to authorities, over half of those that were litigated ended in conviction. I don't know if the other half ended in plea deals or not, but even that rate is pretty high. So it's not just
right. But the other 17,000 are, hey, we're suspecting this is criminal, and of those, thousands and thousands were said, okay, no, there's nothing here. That's what I'm saying.
Oh, there's nothing here. Oh, we don't believe we can convict beyond.
That might be the case. It could be that they just say, look, we don't have the evidence.
Okay, that is the case because that's how criminal court works.
Okay, so it sounds like I'm just making sure this didn't slip by anybody else and make sure I understand it. Maybe y'all can correct me in the chat if I'm. I guess this guy is saying that there's thousands of these denials based on fraud, denials by the insurance companies, whatever the fuck, based on saying oh, this is fraud. The person's trying to commit fraud to get whatever bullshit medication or some treatment or fucking money. Whatever. And but there's only a few hundred convictions where this goes to court. So this is what they're hashing out, whether, how many of those people actually were committing fraud, and are those denials based on bullshit, the company's just using this term fraud to be able to save money on, having to cover people's claims.
In the United States of America.
What I'm saying is like maybe a large percentage more. I don't know how much percentage more, but like this looks to me like fraud is not nearly as prevalent as these insurance companies intend to produce.
I don't know if insurance companies claim that fraud is a huge issue. I think it's just
they do. There's a whole chapter in the book about how they advertise fraud is the worst thing ever, and they're spending tons and tons of money trying to project it as the biggest problem in the world because that justifies them denying claims that may or may not be justified in being denied.
Okay, the vast majority of healthcare costs for insurance companies go into like paying for healthcare. I think the issue is just the rising costs of healthcare. It's not just people like committing fraud. Like a lot of that outpatient stuff you mentioned that I'm reading about this like Senate thing has to do with like post care for senior citizens. That's like some of the most expensive care that can be provided for. Like it's not a fraudulent issue, it's just a massively expensive expenditure.
Right. It's the most expensive and it's the most critical to those people, and they're denying that at ludicrously higher rates than they used to do because of these systems that they're using.
Yeah. So unfortunately, and I'm still reading through this, you say they're denying it at ludicrously higher rates than they used to. One of the big issues that I have with everybody that talks about literally anything in terms of data is when people are saying since 2019 to 2022, like
COVID.
Yeah, there's a whole bunch of stuff that is making data like really crazy in this like 3-year time period, and it's like very sketchy when somebody's saying there's like.
That you mentioned that you can look at the data and you can see that the number of people being applying for that care is much higher, which is probably due to COVID, but the percentage denial rate is still increasing.
Yeah, sure, but I'm just saying that the types of like acute post acute care, whatever that's being sought, might be higher as well, and yeah.
This is the point you made, Soy Pill, in your video as well. Not to keep bringing it back to that. I don't want to.
Okay, keep mentioning my video. I want you to watch it.
Oh, go watch the Soy Pill video. It's quite good. It's enjoyable. But you show this graph of people in the U.S. who self-report delaying medical treatments at higher rates over recent years, and the sharpest increase in that rate is in COVID died. Right. So I think there's lots of reasons why people would avoid seeking medical treatment during this time. Right. Like if I just have a random cold or if I just have a random small injury, but I don't want to go to the doctor or the hospital. It's already overloaded because I've been told we're going to flood the whole system, etc. Like, yeah, of course.
Yeah, and if systems that are used to deny these things at a specific rate are still in place before and after COVID, of course, then the more people that apply, the more people that are going to be denied. So I'm not saying it's all because of some crazy.
I mean that's true whether fraud is happening or not, right? Like if more people apply, more people will get denied, right? Like that's
exactly. But the rate is going up too. It's not just the quantity. I do want to ask you something, Professor, because you mentioned this is happening.
Just a little housekeeping thing. I want to get to that. Okay, thank you. Soy.
So what I wanted to ask, and I know this is an argument that I think Destiny's used before, a lot of people have used. So if we take something like January 6th, which I think was completely based on lies, but you have a bunch of people who believe that every legal means of everything is exhausted to them, and they have no other choice but to go and commit some sort of heinous act to get what they want, and what they see as justice.
No way. We brought up January 6th, and it wasn't Destiny. Somehow every debate Destiny is in, January 6th gets brought up. He's ready. He's ready to talk about the slate of electors. He's got his notes. I'm sure he has notes. Well, they're not actually physical papers like I would have. He has he's got them saved on his computer, ready for any moment to absolutely kick someone's face into the dirt with January 6 facts.
In these cases where, I mean, Destiny, you still are not on the same page as me as whether or not the healthcare is doing this, but just for the sake of argument, let's assume that healthcare is denying at unfair rates, that they are doing what is tantamount to killing some percentage of people, even if they're not doing it maliciously. If that is the case, and if incremental change is not fast enough for the people that are.
Oh my God.
When I heard I was approved by one main, I was very relieved. I was ecstatic. I just felt like a ton of weight was lifted off my shoulders.
Choose Winters and Yonker, and we will send an attorney to you for your auto accident. I'm Bill Winters.
I drive very, very well. I will not be calling you, sir, and I do have an attorney for my, car accident. So please, we need different ads, Destiny. Tell your people. Algorithm, listen, Google, whoever, listen to me. Feds, give me different ads. Give me something like butt plugs or, fucking weed pipes. What else do I like? Hats, tank tops, something.
Being harmed by this, Professor and Destiny, what other recourse? Because I said this at the beginning, I will concede, if you can show me what immediate recourse these people have to take action and actually do something about it, what can they do?
I would not say that people in a variety of circumstances, even that might be life-threatening, necessarily always have immediate just recourses, right? There are people who develop cancer from some malicious negligence or incompetence on the part of some company or party that dumps chemicals in the wrong place by a school or something, right? Like those people, by dint of their imminent death, do not gain the right to go kill the people who cause these problems, even if it threatens their life, right? So I just...
Wait, why not? You obviously believe in self-defense, right? I know that's not analogous one-to-one, but there's some line in between.
Right,
as you separate the action
imminence is the issue, right? If someone is right now doing something that will in the immediate future.
Okay, so for the sake of argument, someone, if they don't get their healthcare, will die.
Well, hold on. I think there's a big distinction between a negative and a positive action as well. There's a big difference between somebody's doing something to kill you versus somebody's withholding something to kill you as well, right?
You stole it from me, but that's fine. Yeah,
like if you were gonna, like if you were, let's say that somebody broke into your house and you're on the verge of starvation and they stole all your food. Like, could you kill that person breaking your house? You probably kill that person even if they're breaking your car. I think that we.
These are the intuitions,
right?
by the way, behind maritime law that says that you get the death penalty for stealing water at sea. Right?
Sure, but let's say that you're starving. Do you have the right to break into a store owner's bakery and kill them?
What the fuck? You get death penalty for stealing water at sea? Is that what is he talking about? Is that true?
Steal their goods?
Yeah, the difference is I already paid for the bakery goods. They owe me the bread, and they're just saying no.
Yeah,
right?
that's not happening in the United States.
No, not a single person is denied the rightful payout.
I didn't say not a single person, but that's
okay. So if one person, okay, maybe it is exceedingly rare. Let's assume it is. Is that one person justified in then killing the person who denied them that care?
I think that unfortunately, I think that this situation is there's too much obfuscation between the provider and the patient to draw a clear line there. If you did want to draw that clear line and say they could kill the person for doing it, then they would be justified morally to kill every single person up the chain of command. So you could go to the hospital.
What if the people are going to get fired if they don't do it, but the person in charge who implements these systems has the power to change it and doesn't?
Wouldn't he get fired too?
Yeah, but
getting fired if you don't do it. I'm sorry. Are you saying that those people are justified in saying, "Oh no, I'd lose my job if I save this person's life"?
Yeah, if it's started up on the street or be homeless, yeah, they're much more.
No, those people are complicit too, right? If you're in a situation where you can save someone's life or lose your job, you should save their life, of course, right? And that person's a bad person if they don't.
Like,
but I'm going to kill the person.
Think of the moral you're creating. You're standing right in front of a doctor, and you're like, "I'm having a heart attack. Like I'm going to die." A cardiologist is right in front of you. The guy's like, "Sorry, bro, but I'm off my shift." And you go, "Well, you know what? Fuck you, cardiologist. I'm going to go kill this health insurer that's not paying you money to give me this treatment." Like, how does that make sense? You should be able to kill the doctor at that point, right?
Is he hot?
Yeah.
Wait, so, okay.
No, actually, I want to
that's the real question.
Okay, go ahead.
I was just wondering if somebody for
I do want people to answer Destiny's question though. I'll let you go, but I want to gauge with that point, right? Destiny made a point here. Like, do you have the right, a doctor, right, a cardiologist, someone?
Yeah. So, like in that specific scenario, I would assume that.
You know what? He's got a point there. The thing is, I think some of these claims, like for instance, and I know Destiny wouldn't want auto insurance brought into this, but so I was rear-ended, no diddy. I was rear-ended on Father's Day. I'll never forget it. On the way to my grandparents' house, and this van just smacked the back of my car. It was like a large white van, full-size white, what do they call it? Cargo van, whatever. That's, big white van. I was driving a little red minivan, a 95, old little piece of shit, 96, I think. Anyway, I got rear-ended in that, and immediately, my head fucking hit the seat, and I was just, adrenaline rush. I didn't feel fucking anything. And then we had to wait there. We waited for the police to show up. And, it was fucking nerve-wracking. But then as soon as I left the scene and I calmed down and I went to my grandparents' house for Father's Day, my neck immediately, I could tell something was up. And it just felt like if I fucking went to some fucking crazy concert and just banged my head for 3 hours straight, or if I did like some neck workouts, my neck was just like really, really tired. And it didn't hurt at that point, but it was just really tired. I mean, I could barely hold my head up. I had to sit in a recliner the whole time at my grandparents' house. Anyway, long story short, I waited to do treatment because my insurance company would never get back to me. And it wasn't until someone told me, "Oh no, you just need to go to the doctor. You need to go to a clinic, get an attorney, and then go to a place and get treatment. And then your attorney will settle it all later." So the whole time, I'm telling you, I went weeks. And it's funny because then the laws changed a little while after my incident. They changed the tort reform or whatever the fuck to where if you didn't go seek treatment within like a week or 2 weeks, then the insurance company didn't have to cover it. So this is the thing. People, this argument of like, okay, if a doctor is denying you treatment or whatever. Well, the Tampa Terra and I talked about this on Friday when he called in. Is that generally you go to the hospital and you if you're like going to die, they're going to treat you. And it's like whether or not you fill out some paperwork that, if you're unconscious, they're not going to not take you in because you haven't found your insurance card on your body in your wallet, or it's like generally a doctor will take care of your treatment. But this is one of the things my experience, at least my anecdotal example here plays into this idea that the insurance companies definitely take advantage of people just not understanding and just being like, fuck, this is really complicated. And, you know, maybe I'll be okay. I don't know. My neck was fucked up and I had to go get physical therapy for it. And it's never been the same. You guys hear me cracking my neck all the time on here and stuff. I have neck problems to this day. And this happened back in, this was like over 10 years ago. And anyway, long story short, again, I wasn't going to get treatment because my insurance company, every time I called, I got the runaround, and I would tell them the number I would call. They'd be like, "Oh yeah, we'll talk to you about the claims for the damages on your car." And I'd say, they asked me the first time, "Oh, are you hurt?" And I was like, "I don't think so. You know, my neck doesn't like feel right, but I think I'm okay," something like that. And they're like, "Okay, good. Yeah. So we'll fucking look at your car, and then we'll give you, we'll give you money for the repairs or whatever the fuck." And nothing happened. I called back a few days later, and I was like, I think I need to do treatment. I'm trying to figure out where I'm supposed to go. And they told me they'll have someone call me. They never had someone call me. And then I called multiple times and kept getting the runaround. And then eventually, like I said, someone told me, at this point, you need to get an attorney. If your neck hurts and you feel like you need treatment, you just need to get an attorney, and then they will settle all of the bullshit afterward. And I was like, oh, okay. I had no idea. So I went to an attorney, and he told me which of the clinics I'm supposed to go to get the physical therapy shit that should be covered. And then when I went to get treatment, I'm telling you guys, this is like almost a month later that I finally started getting physical therapy that I needed. Then they sent a guy, an investigator, to my house, and they made it look, they pretended that they were just there to look at my car. And then after looking at my car, the damage on the back from getting hit, and then he pulls out a recorder real slick and starts asking me very pointed questions about, oh, so you're seeking treatments for injuries now. And I'm like, whoa, what's happening? And then I was like, dude, I have an attorney, and you're being like really like, he was like being aggressive about it. Anyway, I know I got digressed a little bit there, but that's just, this is the kind of thing that the insurance companies for sure take advantage of that. People just don't fucking know that you can just go to the hospital. You don't have to wait for them to be able to say, oh yeah, we'll cover it. Yeah, that's why you hire an attorney. Yeah, exactly. I mean, it's people also, they don't realize that generally if you're doing, getting an attorney sounds complicated too, Bob. This is one of the things, I mean, unless you pay attention to fucking seeing John Morgan, Morgan & Morgan commercials and the fucking, who is it? Winters and Yonker. I don't even think that they said it in that commercial that we are seeing. People don't realize for a personal injury type of thing where you're having to sue your insurance company and this and that the attorneys generally take like 33% of whatever money you get from suing the fuck out of your insurance company. People don't realize you don't have to like pay out of pocket to hire an attorney to work hours and do this and that it's covered. Once you get the money, I mean, they take a small percentage of it and you're good to go. People don't realize that unless they listen to John Morgan commercials.
The doctor, first of all, would probably just help that person anyway, but let's just say they're not.
Wait, hold on, real quick. Big Papa Buckaroo, your mic, you lagged a ton during that. That's why everybody cut you off, because your thing was lagging, so nobody could hear you speak.
Oh, sorry. Okay, sorry.
Thank you. Do I go over Papa? You can go over all times. Yeah, so like if the doctor is, oh, hey, the system's not going to pay me, so I'm not going to help you. I think in a situation where someone was having a heart attack right in front of them, but regardless, for the sake of the hypothetical, let's say, oh, he's not going to do it because the system tells him he won't, and he will lose his job if he does end up doing that.
Good things come to those who wait, but great things?
Never going to drink this. Elijah Craig, go fuck yourself. Never going to drink it. I rarely ever drink. This is a stupid ad.
I think the difference, and Professor, you were saying, oh, well, wouldn't the CEO get fired too? Yes, but the difference is the CEO has options afterwards, but someone in that system may or may not have options once they are fired. Maybe it's literally they're weighing their livelihood over someone else. And I would judge someone weighing their self over someone else. It's a one-to-one, way less than I would someone who is completely capable of getting fired, surviving off the money he's built from being a CEO, and using that power and leverage and clout to go and spread the word, whistleblow, and say, hey,
how do you square that away with executing Nazi prison guards then?
How do I swear? Well, because Nazis, it's not just, it's literally worse with Nazi prison guards. They would get killed if they would try to defect, right?
Yeah, but I thought you said that they should have been held fully responsible for what they did, or maybe that wasn't your claim.
Okay, I see. I say if they were actually engaged in those acts, if they had no other recourse. It's a lot harder to say, like, hey, like, did you have an opportunity to, like, when you were on a march to go run off? Or,
Hold
like,
on, just to be clear, a citizen living in Nazi Germany probably had a lot less recourse than a person that works in health insurance billing or something, right? Or
yeah, sure. Yeah, it depends on if they're directly involved in, like, hey, I was shooting people in the back of the head while they tried to escape. Like, it's a little harder, it's a little more ambiguous, and I'd have to read up on the actual circumstances. There's a bunch of books I haven't gotten to, so. But I can see.
I'm actually curious. I'm actually curious if somebody, for example, was having an acute mental event, and they went out and committed a violent crime, and they had some sort of proposed reasoning behind it, but ultimately it was an acute mental event after a period of time of social alienation. Would you think that he should be killed?
The person having
would be justified for his killing?
Like killed at what point? Like in self-defense or after he already committed the act?
After he committed the act.
No, I think he should probably be arrested, and then the criminal justice system should treat him appropriately, right? If he was having a mental episode, then you weigh that differently, obviously, right?
Yeah, I guess the reason I'm asking is because at least with the New York statute on terrorism explicitly, it does bring the death penalty to the table in the first place. So when we're talking about whether or not Luigi is a terrorist, I do think that's something worth considering if the answer is yes, because he could be killed for exactly that.
Yeah, but I mean, that's going to be up to the prosecution to prove that he was of sound mind when he decided to murder the guy, right?
This is a defense that he could mount, right? He's pled not guilty. He could plead not guilty by reason of insanity. Like, there's all sorts of reasons why he could plead not guilty. But yeah, that's going to be up to them to prove. Like, if you plead insanity, it's a defense that you have to make a positive case for. So
I understand it's different when it comes to how it plays out in court.
Plead drop dead sexy and too sexy for jail. He's innocent, Your Honor. Just send him to my house. I'll give him a few spankings.
Just asking about your personal opinion. Ukerist, I would love to hear your personal opinion on that as well. If having an acute mental event is justification ultimately.
Yeah,
for...
I'm in to quote Samuel L. Jackson from Pulp Fiction, I'm in a bit of a transitional period when it comes to the death penalty in general. So I'm not entirely sure how to answer the question, but I think same thing as Destiny. Like, I think we handle it well in our justice system, which is saying, like, there's a certain class of people where we can understand why they did something that we would ordinarily kill someone for, that this person we might want to give them alternative life in prison or some sort of mental health accommodation. I'm sure, but that's a thing that would have to be positively defended.
Here's a question. Destiny, I would love to know I would really quick. I would just love to know, Destiny, your position on the death penalty.
You know what, with me, the death penalty, I'm not a huge fan of it. I think, whatever. We could get into, but I have more of a problem with the insanity plea thing. That just irked me. The idea that someone can plead insanity, and judges and what people would be like, oh yeah, this one person, they've lost their fucking mind. But someone else that does some fucking completely heinous act, if they just, when they speak to you, they seem like they know what they were doing or whatever, then it's like, oh, this person's not insane. I mean, I think the idea revolves around whether they would know what they were doing was wrong, but I think even if someone says, oh yeah, I know it was wrong when I did it, then, you thought it was the right thing on some level. At some level in your head, whether it's, you assaulted somebody or actually, ended someone's life or something, at some level you thought it was the right thing to do, and if you didn't, if it was just some carnal act that you, were temporarily insane because you were so fucking pissed off or something, it's like, I feel like the line is so blurred with all of this that if anyone can get the plead insanity and get off on something, then everyone should be able to.
I'm like 51-49 in favor of it. I can understand it being a class of crime if somebody does something so horrible. The state and the people have decided that this is your penalty for this is death. Obviously, innocent people being executed sucks, but I don't have a strong feeling on one way or another. That could be.
Funny face, what's up, bro? Thanks for joining us. Yeah, it's all good. Not only are you a little late, I went on super early. I got on here at like 7 o'clock. So yeah, I'm trying to get through this before 9:30, hopefully. I'm not going to go through the whole Q&A of this. We're just going to get through the meat of the debate here.
Okay, so my follow-up question is, let's say, hypothetical again, let's say Luigi finds out that Brian Thompson actually has a fatal form of cancer. And instead of going the short term, instead of just going and attacking him on the street, he actually figures out how to get a job at Brian Thompson's insurer. And then he becomes Brian Thompson's insurance agent. And then he instead just denies.
Matching. The sound you hear if your employer matches your 401k contribution. It's free.
I don't have an employer, Edward Jones. Wow, you just got ripped off by Destiny. 50 more cents into Destiny's pocket funneled from this company because they were dumb enough to listen to YouTube when YouTube said, oh, we do, we get the right ads in front of the right viewers. We reach your demographic using AI technology. So we'll show you your ads to customers that already enjoy your product or need your service.
Money. So take advantage. Click the link for more money wisdom. Add words of wisdom.
How does YouTube, Google, how do you not know that I don't have an employer? Why are you ripping off these companies? Martha Pools. Someone thinks that I need a pool built. Google, why do you think I need a pool built? I'm renting a property. You spy on me. You know that I rent the place I'm living at. I'm renting a house. Why would I want a pool built?
All of the claims for chemotherapy. Would you be in support of his claim denial then if it resulted in Brian Thompson's death?
Yeah, I wouldn't be in favor of it, but it doesn't even matter what the result is. The criminal intent was there to try to kill somebody, right?
Well, thanks for joining us, Funny Face. I appreciate it. Yeah, I know. I've been busy as fuck too. The holidays have rode me hard and stored me wet. So.
That's
if someone could accomplish this Looney Tunes level of conspiring, I'm not going to support it in principle, but I would.
Look, this is a Hallmark movie in the making.
I mean, even on the street would have been interesting if you just released a bunch of marbles and saw what happened.
Hold on, if I may. A more pertinent question along those lines, Buckaroo, the person who had the violent mental episode, it's shown later that they could have gotten care, like mental therapy, etc. The insurance, for whatever reason, didn't cover it. Are those insurance people who denied the coverage, are they on the list? Are they responsible for what that man did?
I mean, my answer has been probably unsatisfactorily vague because I think, of course, they would have played a part in it, but I don't think they, I don't think they beat somebody to death. I don't think they went down and committed a killing. I think the degree of separation does matter, but I don't think it completely removes any responsibility from people who are actively involved in the
when we talk about holding people responsible, right? The problem with things like holding people accountable, holding people responsible is you can mean a wide variety of things when you say that. Holding someone accountable could mean something like scolding, a fine, simply not going to another insurance company, a whole host of things, or it could mean literally putting them in front of a trial and charging them for murder, right? So when we make things like how responsible are they, these things, I just want us to be a little more specific when these things. And again, to your side's points here, I'm still waiting, right, for like this justification. I'm not hearing it. I'm not hearing a justification of why it's okay that Luigi went out, got a gun, shot a man 3 times in the back, who, again, never did anything personally to him. He didn't deny him any coverage. He wasn't even his insurance provider. Like, what makes this okay? And I'm hearing a lot of vague statistics about how people don't like health insurance. Fair, but there's multiple ways to change that in the American system that it just doesn't justify this at all.
I understand that. I actually think there should be an explicit differentiation between justification and whether it's morally good or bad. Whether I think something's morally good or bad doesn't change whether I think it was justified as a result.
Do you think it was morally good?
No.
Wait, how many people, just as a quick sanity check, I'm sorry, because I don't even know what our positions are right now in this debate. How many people in here think that it was like morally acceptable to whack the CEO dude?
No.
Okay, so now I thought this was like 3 on one side and 2 on the other, but now I feel like we're 1 on, okay.
Well, that's why earlier when we brought up the question of justification, I said that I felt differently. That's why I kind of like did a little because I think there is some justification for it because I think a part of it is just a result of the interactions between these two people. I think you can't.
Well, stop saying interactions between these two people because there were no negative interactions between him and the healthcare system, right? It sounds
do you just mean like then that you understand?
Oh, yes.
I'm just trying to figure out
here because this is getting a little ridiculous. The phrasing of okay was fucking retarded. Was morally okay. That's way too fucking broad. The question is, am I okay with it? No, it's what am I going to do? What do I feel responsible for as a citizen if somebody engages in a crime against somebody else? That question becomes a lot more complicated the greater the scale of the crime is, and my personal motivation to do something is going to be different depending on how far removed I am from that other person, as well as their own moral character. That's the problem. If Stalin gets mugged, murdered, and raped in that order in an alleyway, I don't have to view the mugger, murder, rapist as a hero in any capacity. But I do get to be happy that Stalin is dead. If I've been negatively affected by Stalin, or if I regard him as being
are you happy that the CEO of that Brian Thompson is dead?
Very.
Okay.
Maybe that's what we should have asked. I don't know, because to me that's sort of what I'm looking for. Are you happy that he's
damn? That's putting it out there.
He's dead. Is it a good thing that happened?
Yeah,
you want to
separate moral, if you're engaged in
one
of the most vicious, disgusting crimes that you can engage in the insurance industry. Sorry, tripping over my words. In the insurance industry specifically, because you're breaking trust, which is not only going.
Oh, cool. What is it now? Oasis? Never. I don't even know what this is. What? Never gonna use it.
Away from your financial responsibilities, but like you are selling trust to begin with.
Just as a quick heads up, because we keep going back here, but nobody has any numbers. Like the vibe on the other side is that health insurance companies, when they deny things, they're just doing it for profit and for lulz and just to fool people. And
it's not the vibe. It's the documented cases from the crazy all these other companies.
Documented cases.
It's literally if they let it out in the documents. Go fucking read them. I know you have it, but just go read them now. Like you have time. The leaked documents from the McKinsey Allstate company.
One at a time. Hold up. You're all three talking at the same time. One at a time. One person. Explain this. Go ahead, Buckaroo. You're the most.
This is the McKinsey & Company documents. McKinsey & Company is a consulting firm that was hired by I think it was 5 of the biggest insurance companies in the United States.
Health insurance companies or?
Insurance companies, because insurance companies in general cover more options than just health insurance. And when you're talking about things like auto insurance will usually cover a part of the claim, and then the rest of the claim goes to the health insurance company. When it comes,
do you understand that health insurance is a very special and separate, like unique industry? It's not. I don't think it's comparable easily to other types of industries. Like we use health insurance way differently than we use any other type of insurance, and the amount of regulatory framework around. Right,
I was just explaining to you that when we're talking about things like car insurance, health insurance, they are at least to a certain extent intertwined, because at first the claim goes to the car insurance and then it goes to health insurance afterwards. Once the car insurance, if for example you get into an accident, and I'll use my grandmother's experience actually. That's why I'm in her house. These beautiful curtains. My grandmother was recently hit by a car. She was hit by a car. The person who hit her was insured, and because of that, her claim first goes to the auto insurance, goes to the claimant's auto insurance, the claimant being the person who hit her in the first place, and then the auto insurance gets to pay out a certain amount of the claim. Then it gets bumped to health insurance to finish paying out the claim. Now, when it comes to the McKinsey & Company documents, these are documents that were exposed in a legislation. I don't remember the specific case, but during a case with Allstate explicitly, where Allstate released the documents that were given to them by the consulting firm that list in, I believe, like 150 pages exactly the tactics they should be utilizing in insurance agencies. This was in the 1990s.
They didn't release them. They prevented them from coming out for weeks and weeks and years until
they prevented them from coming out, and then when they did give them over, they actually gave them unphotocopiable papers. They made it so you couldn't photocopy them, and then after having those returned by the lawyer, the Allstate then just waited around before eventually being forced to give up these documents. But they are documents from the consulting firm explicitly establishing a new standard of how insurance agencies should pursue paying out claims. And this
so after the release of these documents, was any company prosecuted for?
No, they weren't. It was crazy.
Were there any investigations in any of these companies?
Yeah, there were, and they found them not to be like criminally liable. In fact, every time this happens, the same with the Andrew Cuomo case in 2009, where they say, "Hey, you are not calculating reasonable and customary fees with your systems. You are defrauding customers." It's like exact words. No criminal charges. No criminal charges ever come of this, and that's my whole point. Of if these people are never going to be criminally charged for the actions of denying people rightful care, which
wait,
again,
so
just for the sake of hypothetical,
why is it in your mind? Wait, no, we can't just assume it's happening, because obviously that's the entire argument.
Well,
why are you assuming that? Well, it's not more interesting. It's boring because we all agree past that point. I think all of us here agree. Well, I don't think we could. I could get Ukerist over if the companies were literally like maliciously denying claims just to watch people die for the lulz and money. Right? You have a very strong argument for engaging in
just the money, not the lulz. But if that's true, I think I can convert you.
You have some argument there, possibly. But why would you assume that if they weren't able to actually convict anybody, why would you assume that it was all? What is the implication that the government was being corrupt and not investigating?
The implication is that people view the status quo of denying people using a system. It's not directly killing someone. It's not directly robbing someone. I'm just using a computer. The computer has this segmented way of processing claims, and that way is not giving people what they rightfully owe. Hey, you guys.
What do you mean? You just begged away all the what they rightfully owe. So that would be, I would imagine, that would be at the very least tort, at the very least contract violation.
Well, no, it's what's first of all, tort is everything except contract violation. Second of all, if you're giving, you're promising this is what we're going to pay out if you give us this money, and you don't do that when it's rightfully owed. If there's all these cases coming out where they're saying, hey, here's all the documents you requested, give me the money, and they say no because they know if they delay that, they can get you to either give up or grind you into the ground.
So is that a single civil case that somebody is like demonstrating this, or like class action lawsuits?
Yeah, there's a bunch. And if you read the book by the guy who wrote the fucking manifesto, you know all of that. You didn't. And I know you like to shit on people who don't do research before, but I know you didn't read that book.
No, that's right. I haven't read every single book on this.
I'm not saying you have to. But every single time I bring up a single fact, you're like,
hold on. We gotta go one at a time. Screaming at each other won't work. Finish your point. Soy, then Destiny gets to respond uninterrupted. Go ahead.
Let him go.
If you've read a book and the only thing you can say is you needed to read the book, then you didn't understand the book, and you shouldn't waste your time reading the book. There are much better things.
I'm bringing up the case.
Destiny.
Feeling stuck? Hey, you made it this far.
If you're gonna let Destiny go, you gotta let Destiny go.
Yeah, so saying that I read the book, you need to read the book over and over again means that you shouldn't have wasted your time reading the book. Number one. Number two, if you did read the book and you did actually assimilate some reasonable information from it, it sure would be nice if you could bring up a single thing impacting health insurance, especially in a post-ACA world. And if you're deciding this McKinsey leak over and over and over again, which is consultations to non-health insurance related companies in a pre-ACA world, what the fuck is even the carryover to the health insurance?
So ignoring all the other cases I brought up, ignoring the Senate thing that came out 2 months ago, ignoring all of this, like I'll keep bringing up sources, I'll keep bringing up what I read in the book, I'll keep like trying to like scroll through my 14 pages of documents, but then you just keep denying. It's like, oh, I still don't think it's happening. Like I don't know what to tell you. Like
why not give me these? Why not, instead of just naming and blurting out a bunch of random shit that's not applicable, give
give me the strongest thing, and we can start there. That's what people know later. Give the strongest thing.
What is the strongest thing that you need to see that would prove and change your mind?
We're talking about like arbitrarily denying things for unjustifiable reason, unjustifiable cause.
So what is not being shown that is the case in the Senate report?
The Senate report, one, it's not even showing that. It's just showing that there's an increase of denials, and it's only talking about outpatient care related to Medicare Advantage patients. That's only one sector of what's even being talked about.
I'm not saying it.
Number two,
so would it have to be widespread? Would it have to be everything?
No, it wouldn't necessarily have. You can show me that. But number two, I don't think in that Senate report, but from what I just read, it doesn't even seem like they're alleging anything actually wrong happening. They found
criminal. Yeah, that's the fucking point. It's not. They don't think it's criminal.
So then wait, if the issue is just that denials have gone up for some reason, okay, of which who knows?
For some reason, for the system.
For the
is
system,
arbitrarily denying things on things that when read by adjusters, they say this.
Hold on, maybe I can help.
Wait, where in that Senate report? Just show me. Then tell me which page. It was like 50 pages. Okay, I read about 25 of them, and I scanned the rest. Where in that report does it say they are arbitrarily or unfairly or unjustly or in violation of their agreements denying people insurance claims? Just where's that?
Yeah, it's just at the very bottom. There's a role for the free market to improve the delivery of healthcare to America's seniors, but there is nothing inevitable about the harms done by the current arrangement. Insurers can and must do better. Yeah, thanks, Senate, for the sake of the American healthcare system and the patients the government entrusts to them.
Okay, I'm going to ask that question again. What part of this report says that they're arbitrarily rejecting or denying claims?
What do you need to see? Do you need to see that it's not supposed to be the rate that it's at? Do you need to see what the word harm is?
No, not harm. What do you mean? Cars harm people by output. That doesn't mean that you're doing
if denying people medical care harms them, and this is denying more people medical care. The Senate says this is wrong. They say they need to change, and they're not doing criminal charges.
No. It sounds like they didn't even find any wrong behavior. It just sounds
what is wrong behavior?
Something that's unethical or illegal or in violation.
They say it is unethical. They said right there, this is unethical.
Can harm result from legal behavior? Can harm result from legal behavior?
Yeah, of course. Okay. Are you saying that's Destiny?
No, the conclusion of the report that you're reading is like, yeah, look, we can do things to rectify
that's the whole argument. The status quo is that denying people claims that may end up killing them is not viewed as that bad in our current system. That's the reason you guys are making the arguments.
No. You keep sneaking all this bullshit in, which leads me to think you know that you're full of shit right now. Nobody is saying every single denial is not necessarily bad or unjustified.
I agree.
And also, why do you keep saying ethical? There's no thing on that in the conclusion for that report about ethical. You're adding that word. I didn't say that they're acting unethically.
Okay, they say there are harms done by the current system. Maybe it's not unethical, but the point
does that make that system unethical? If a system does harm, right, does that necessarily make the system unethical?
Well, it'd be more about the fact that I think what Destiny would want to say is that are the people who are implementing the system actively doing it, knowing that it is doing bad things and not caring? I would say they are, but I think that's what Destiny wants to say.
Wait, just last point. Last point. Because you keep bringing up this report, and then you can do this, okay? You keep bringing up this report. What did the report even suggest?
Do better.
Who?
The people that are implementing the system. So United Healthcare, CVS,
okay. So no, you're wrong. Although the subcommittee's recommendations in this report are targeted at regulators. The whole point is to change the law because this is a heavily regulated insurance industry. That's why I keep getting mad when you guys are coming with car insurance examples. The whole point is health insurance. This is why you can't sue these companies because it's so regulated. They don't want to be getting sued for things that they have to do in accordance with rules set by the federal government because of laws passed by Congress.
Why do they have to implement computer systems that deny people? That's not something
because they're trying to save money because healthcare is expensive. They have to because healthcare is expensive.
So if the only way they can operate is by doing this, in the same way that I would say that if you can only afford to have your company by paying people less than minimum wage, then you shouldn't exist, and the government just can't do it.
Yeah, the government denies people too.
Yeah, they do, but not at the same rates.
You don't even know the rates. You just said it's not publicly available information. So why would you even?
Yeah, I can at least compare it in general to what they're doing in other countries. Sorry,
I do want to make sure more people get in. Ukerist's been trying to get in. Buckaroo's been trying to get in, and Ash wants in. So we're gonna go in that order: Ukerist, Buckaroo, Ash. Go.
I just don't understand the standard by which you're measuring whether or not they are doing something worthy of giving the Luigi treatment to the CEO, right? So you are reading. Let me finish. Hold on. You're reading a report that says, "Hey, we could probably do something to minimize the harm done." Right? Fair enough. Right? But it seems like what you're suggesting is they should minimize all harm. Right? No. I'm perplexed. Right? Because when I buy insurance from a company, I'm entering into a contract. I'm paying them a certain amount of money for a certain amount of time. That's going to cover a certain amount of service.
I haven't read the Senate thing that they're talking about, but apparently this guy, Destiny's issue with this is that this Senate, whatever the fuck, it's saying the insurance companies and regulators should do better, and that the rates of denial have gone up, but I guess it doesn't really specify if they're, unjustifiable denials.
Services in the event of certain conditions, right? And they're suggesting, or they're arguing, that when they deny my claim for certain coverage, that there are good reasons for doing that. Now, I think I think we probably all agree there are circumstances where an insurance company could deny coverage. It would result in harm, but they are doing that within the limits of the contract they've made with the customer. Is that true?
100%. That happens probably more.
Do you hear that?
Destiny needs 50 more cents in his pocket.
The pure panic of a cyber attack. The endless alerts of component
Hitachi. We all trying to sell me a vibrator? This is up my alley.
failure and power loss. Can you hear it? Neither can we.
Choose Winters and Yonker, and we will send an attorney to you. Let our aggressive attorneys represent you
often than an unjust one.
So the report that you're reading does not in any way tell me that they're doing something criminal that I could sue them under, that they're being prosecuted for.
Okay, they're not going to get prosecuted. Okay, I agree.
Wait, they're not doing anything criminal?
I don't think they're breaking the law.
Two more things. What you all were alleging earlier was a strong amount of fraud, actual like I could bring a lawsuit against you, or you could be prosecuted by the federal government for violating federal regulations governing healthcare insurance. Fraud. If you're saying they're not violating statutes, then I don't know what we're talking about anymore, and I don't know how you could possibly justify the thing that this debate is about.
Can something cause harm and be legal? Yes, right? Professor? Sorry,
say that one more time.
Well, you brought up. You said, can something be legal and cause harm?
No. I said, could we be working within the insurance system? Could we look at the contract I made with my insurance company? Could they deny my coverage? Could that denial be valid under that contract and cause harm? And we all agree.
Well, that too. But could you also agree that there are things that people do that you probably disagree with that are not breaking a law?
Yes.
That's what I'm arguing.
Okay,
against.
we're breaking law that we're killing over. Right. Not. I just don't even know where to go from here. I feel like we've run into so many dead ends that I just don't even know how you're justifying the thing we're arguing about, right? If you've gotten
that's my question.
No law was broken, no, there's no action I could bring against this company to resolve the harm that they've done.
Well, then what? Exactly. There's no action.
This is a policy question,
right? Exactly. And when does that policy happen? Does it happen a year from now? Does it happen 4 years? What do you tell the person right now that might die because of their denial of coverage if they can't do something to immediately change the situation? That's what I'm asking. That's my whole question.
What do I tell someone who's suffering from a rare kind of cancer from some chemical dump outside their school from decades ago? Right? What do I tell them? I tell them, hey, there's laws and we're processing it and we're going through the process.
Yeah, so essentially,
you can't just go out and kill them. You can't just go out and kill people because of it.
I don't think you should, but what else do you tell them?
But that's the whole debate. That's the point.
A part of what I do think is
Buckaroo, go ahead.
Part of what I do think is worth criticism is the way the policies are developed in the first place. And I agree, Ukerist. I can hear you saying now that you just want more transparency from insurance agencies, and I absolutely agree. I think insurance agencies should be more transparent. So there's something called the four corners rule that's utilized by insurance lawyers specifically, and the idea is that the scope of the coverage is actually completely covered by what's written within the four corners of the paper on which the policy is printed. Now, there have been multiple occasions where different courts have actually castigated these insurance companies specifically because they will use bad faith when interpreting different policies, and yes, I know bad faith is something specific, but they will use bad faith when interpreting these policies, and they will go out of their way to create their own internal definitions of what is and isn't, for example, burglary. So in this specific case, the Iowa Supreme Court this did go to court. They rejected a policy because the definition of burglary within the insurance policy was requiring visible marks of forceful entry on the exterior, and they used that as reinforcement for claim denial because the burglary, of course, couldn't have been an actual burglary if there weren't visible marks on the exterior explicitly. And this is one of the circumstances in which, while I agree this is written in the policy, I think there are issues when it comes to the faith with which the policies are enacted on the claimants, and I think that goes to the exact papers.
I don't think this has anything to do with health insurance. I think I don't think that they're going to be using like novel definitions in an insurance policy that isn't understood literally throughout the entire industry.
I staunchly disagree. I think this happens all the time.
Can you give us
exactly why there's a bureaucratic process?
In a moment. But this goes to the point, right? Like we keep talking in vagaries. What is a specific example in the health industry where they define an insurance company defines something in a way?
Here we go. Actually, Destiny actually referred to this earlier that I thought was really that's pretty useful now when we're talking about what is and isn't an elective surgery. He's talking about the elective surgery of having your arm bone fixed, but I think the person walking around with a broken arm probably feels differently about whether or not it's elective because there's a specific definition that's being utilized by the insurance company that may or may not be understood by the person when they're signing on to the policy in the first place. Now, I think the average person when they're choosing their specific plan, which again, to be clear, most people cannot choose the insurance agency through which they get insurance. They actually only choose the job that they have, and then those jobs have specific insurance companies from whom they buy insurance packages, and that is what is utilized for their employees. So the option of change your insurance is actually quit your job. Then you can get new insurance. Then you can actually have an issue with the policy that's being offered to you. And even then, you're getting like 4 or 5 policy plans in the first place. But back to my original point, I think there is something important regarding the specific terminology that's utilized by insurance agencies to deny claims that otherwise, from a good faith, or what I would say is a good faith interpretation, what the Utah Supreme Court would say is a good.
This is not happening. This is not happening. I don't. This is just an
do you have any evidence?
Amazing helps Anthony through night classes.
Jesus Christ, Destiny. You've made enough money.
Amazing starts at CSL Plasma. Donate.
I don't know. I'm not giving you guys my bodily fluids and stuff. Please stop.
Do you have any?
I can prove that something's not happening. No, I can prove a negative. I cannot prove that a thing is not happening. But the idea that because somebody doesn't know what an elective surgery means, that they're getting scammed. Like, I'm sorry, you don't know. Like what? Like, let's say I don't speak English.
This is exactly why I wanted to finish my point, which is that it's not just about whether somebody knows what an elective surgery is. It's about the fact that, like I said, insurance companies use explicit definitions that are not known by their claimants to basically lure them into the trap of signing on to a specific policy without understanding.
This doesn't even make sense because you literally said in your.
If I can finish. if I can read this other quote from the Utah Supreme Court, insureds buy financial protection and peace of mind against gratuitous losses. They pay the requisite premiums and put their faith and trust in their insurers to pay policy benefits properly and fairly when the insured event occurs. Good faith and fair dealing is their expectation. It is the very essence of the insurer and insured relationship. So I think it is actually very important to understand and to ensure that the claimants who are signing up for these policies in the first place have a clear understanding of the policy at hand.
Why would they even have to obfuscate? Wait, why would they have to?
And I think the training.
You got 30 seconds, right? We can't be held hostage.
Okay. Yeah. No, it's okay.
Okay.
Why would they have to obfuscate their terms? If you just said earlier, people can't even choose their insurance anyway. If they're all getting it from their job, then why would they even have to go through the trouble of trying to obfuscate what people are signing up for? Like, these are just fantasies. Like, nothing that you're quoting even has to do with health insurance. All of these cases, the Utah one, the Iowa one, are all like about car insurance and stuff. It's a totally different industry.
Again, to be clear, this is an insurance company that has different kinds of insurance that they offer. They can still bounce from car insurance to health insurance, because when you have claims, when you have any health claims related to any other form of insurance that you have, it goes to that first form of insurance and then it goes to health insurance. So this is all intertwined. You want this explicit discrimination between these two, but you're wrong. It is not as clear as you imply.
It is very clear. Your car insurance is not your health insurance company. You wouldn't go to your car insurance and say, I got a car accident. Can you front me some money for my monthly SSRI prescription? Or can you give me something like a car insurance? Like, health insurance is a different thing. Go ahead.
When it comes to the injuries that occur as a result of a car accident, you do go to the car insurance agency. You say, I was hurt from this car accident. I have to pay for these bills because this claimant has caused harm in some way. It goes to the car insurance agency first.
Yeah, as a result
then
of an
it goes to
accident,
the health insurance agency.
But I'm saying that this is a different thing than your ordinary health insurance.
What I'm talking about. This is a part of health insurance. You think it's not a part of health insurance because you don't understand what car and health insurance are. It is not my fault that you don't get what car insurance is and how claims for car insurance injuries go through car insurance first.
If this conversation was supposed to be a debate about how we regulate car and health insurance policies, this would be a completely different conversation, right? If we just wanted to say, hey, in an ideal world, what regulations would be passed for separate issues, health and car insurance, to make them better, that it would be a different conversation. And that's part of why I'm agreeing with you on the data transparency issue, right? Where I want to know why and how these insurance companies are making these denials, right? The question that we came in here to debate is when and how these denials justify gunning someone down on the street.
Well,
and
no, it's important. We have to know if they're justified or not, because that's at the end of the day, that's really the only thing that matters. And nobody knows about anything, how insurance works or whatever, which is why she thinks that health insurance.
Which is why you don't seem to understand exactly where these claims go in the first place. This is why you don't understand the drugs being utilized by insurance agencies.
You're clueless. Do you think car insurance companies are regulated under the ACA the same way the health insurance companies are? No. You get a Medicare extension or a Medicare Plus
why
plan,
you are explaining my argument to me about why I see an issue with claimants and their relationship with the insurer in the first place, because it goes to car insurance agencies first
Destiny, go ahead.
that are owned by the same company?
Hold on. When I say Destiny, go ahead, I mean Destiny, go ahead. And then when I see you, Soy Pill. We're going to get you in right after, but Destiny has to have a chance uninterrupted to respond. Destiny, go ahead.
Just the fact that a car insurance company might cover some medical expense, but when we talk about health insurance companies, we're not talking about car insurance companies. We're talking about health insurance companies where that is the product that they offer, and they're hardcore regulated by the Affordable Care Act. And there's a whole list of regulations, everything that come into play here when we're talking about these companies. And every single data point you guys were citing earlier, things related to that Senate report and things related to the 90% denials and all these have to do with like Medicare Plus plans or Medicare extension plans or whatever. These don't, which is
that's health insurance. Medicare.
Which is not the Medicare in all states. That's not when you get a car accident. You don't get a car accident. That's not for car accidents. 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 That's not for car accidents.
I'm not talking about car accidents. I'm citing the Medicare Advantage.
You already
I think Destiny's broken.
That Destiny you can go to your car insurer and tell them you have medical bills related to a car accident. That is how, like I've said, you are clearly displaying a lack of understanding with the relationship between health insurance agencies and car insurance agencies. And when you have a car accident that results in the necessity of medical bills being paid, that is going to a car insurance agency first. Now, Soy Pill.
No, thanks. First, I want to say Destiny is drinking Soylent right now. That makes him objectively the most correct in this conversation. Destiny, I'm looking at this report. I did not quote every single thing. I didn't know you would fight me so hard on this.
I can tell that she has a great sense of humor.
Dear God.
But she hasn't told me a joke yet.
Want a career as a pet?
Is this enough for you? It says, this majority staff report reveals how Medicare Advantage insurers are intentionally using prior authorization to boost profits by targeting costly yet critical stays in post-acute care facilities. So, intentionally using these systems to deny care from people who may or may not rightfully deserve it. I'm sure some of these denials, maybe even
read that quote again.
Sure, and this is under the executive summary. And by the way, sorry for all the yelling, because like I can see how this is my first time doing this, and I'm having fun. But I mean, I'm seriously trying to approach this in good faith. And so, in the executive summary, it says this majority staff report reveals how Medicare Advantage insurers, aka United Health, CVS, and one other I don't remember, are intentionally using prior authorization to boost profits by targeting costly yet critical stays in post-acute care facilities.
Yes, costly.
Okay.
The issue is that these particular stays are incredibly expensive. So you have two options. You have one option. The only way you have two options. The only way that you can do this, or maybe three, you can either increase premiums to customers. Right. You can decrease the cost of what the people pay out by negotiating with them, which people in America get ass paid at, or you can be more stringent on what you cover. Those are the only three things that you can do.
Yeah, it is a zero-sum game. You're going to have to take money from somewhere else to pay for this care. And what this is saying, I'm trying to establish that they are intentionally denying care, which may or may not result in harm, if not death, to certain people, for profit. And whether or not that's because, and you can make this argument, because the government is enforcing these stringent regulations that's forcing them, they say we cannot be operable if we do not do this. That's totally fair. I understand that. I'm just saying that the decisions being made by the higher up people are denying people care that may or may not kill them.
I don't agree with the death part, okay? Where people are dying because of this, because I don't think that is the case, okay?
Okay, so if you need, sorry, go ahead.
This has to do with staying in care facilities after surgeries and stuff, right?
Yeah, but right. So if you have a wound,
there are alternatives to this, right? You don't have to go to a facility afterwards. You can get like in-home treatments instead, or you can visit a hospital, right? Sure, you can do other things, right? But what this report is saying is that if the person's not being allowed to stay in a post-acute care facility and they get instead opt for that other thing, or they do that other thing, that's kind of like a denial or whatever for this report. Also, this report is only dealing with the time period between 2019 and 2022, which is an incredibly odd period for healthcare coverage, like time periods, which is why even in looking at the conclusion.
That's true. The cocoa was going around.
Of this report, all of the conclusions go towards the regulations, that maybe we should try to regulate this industry in a little bit of a different way. Right. You're saying that people could be dying as a result of this. These are from Medicare Advantage plans. These are things that are on top of your ordinary Medicare already. So if you're advocating for getting rid of stuff like this and just expanding Medicare for all or something like that, these people would literally all be doing worse under that plan because they all already qualify for Medicare anyway. These are just Medicare Advantage plans. So nothing in this report is getting you anywhere near the fact that somebody was engaging in such harm should be killed.
Is there a more than positive chance that someone who is denied post-acute care, or let's say a wound, where they could get sepsis, that could get infected because they can't afford it, and they can't afford the alternative, would not die? Is that possible?
No. People are not being, these types of denials are not like you have sepsis and you're being denied like long-term care. These are like you have an injury that you get, it's maybe some surgery in the hospital, and then you've got to do some like physical rehab or physical therapy, and maybe the doctor.
Some of post-acute care is wounds, like from surgeries that if you don't treat correctly. No, wounds could become septic post not treating them, right?
Yes, it could. I guess.
Is it possible that there's even one person who's denied that post-acute care, that their wound is not treated correctly and they die?
That's possible, sure, but it's also possible in the other world that too many people get approved for this, and now there's no room for somebody who actually does need to stay.
No, you're right. Wait. Destiny's right. The reason they're doing this is
let them finish. Then I get the super chats, and then we'll continue on. Go ahead.
It's related only to this.
No. Go ahead. Finish.
I want to say Destiny's right.
The moderator. That's what I'm telling y'all every time, every debate. The moderator normally just needs to chill and let these people fucking fight.
The reason that they're justifying implementing the systems is an over-approval of care for people that don't deserve it. Like, yeah, 100%.
No, don't deserve it. There might be a substitution instead. Like you could go home and have the same type of care. Sure.
Sorry. Maybe the word's too little, but that don't need this care, right? Like they're approving people. The system was approving people, and it's like over-approving people. It's losing the company money, and these people didn't need it. I understand that. Yeah, I'm just saying there's a fraction of people. There must be a fraction of people who are denied this care, especially when it goes to as much as 16 times higher than their normal denial rate, who probably need it and may or may not die from it.
Not as policy though. That would be an accident or oversight or something's fucked up.
Sure, but like if they don't get the proper treatment because they either can't afford it because the alternative's not there for them. That's all I'm saying.
But you're not dying of sepsis. Sorry, go ahead, Big Papa.
Okay. I'm just gonna get some. We're gonna get some super chats in there. Then we go to Buckaroo, and then we'll keep going. Deity for $20. Destiny took the L, defending the big businesses and CEOs after the death penalty and the death penalty nowadays too. Brian Thompson got the death penalty for the American people after enacting the October 7th of healthcare on us, and that's facts. Well, thank you for the $20. $5 from Robert Bates to say ERISA law prevents suing for more than the claim. ERISA prevents putative, emotional, or jury trials. There are no consequences for incorrect denials. $5 from Rabbit Wombat. Does Soy think it would have been more ethical for Luigi to grape the CEO instead of murder because it leaves room for a post-grape CEO redemption arc?
Can I answer that?
In a moment. Let me get through the rest of it. Yes, keep that in mind. It's an interesting question. Symposium Brain.
I wish I was a CEO that got graped by Luigi.
For $20 says Molina recently confirmed that the sex.
That's that's a gift from God there. That's not I'm gonna have a seizure listening to him talk. Yeah, but that's really the case with Destiny, whether I have it sped up or not. It's kind of like, he's already on fast forward.
Tapes leaked by Destiny.
Jesus Christ.
E-girl were shared by Destiny.
Nice, good one. Nice. Yes.
She has no
I got a whole bunch of super chats for you. Wait, ready?
Good things come to those who wait, but great things.
Okay. Did you not? Okay.
So yeah, when I started watching last night, it was like a couple minutes before they started with the super chats. So I barely saw any of this.
Stinky Butt. I think that's a number one super chat. He's probably not.
$5 from Origuni. How would the people on the panel like to be treated if accused of murder? Do you want a trial or would you prefer Luigi? $5 Smoke. Do you demand the argument that you're stuck with a company because of your job is incorrect? This is American. You can choose any company. $5 from Very Late and Tired. The one screaming about car insurance is incredibly wrong. She shouldn't be accusing others of ignorance. It's embarrassing. And then finally, $5. Wick, just tuning in, but wondering if Buckaroo has improved on her arguments on this topic since I debated her on the last healthcare panel. Thank you for the money. Okay, with that, Buckaroo.
I'm not wrong. There's actually a specific branch of insurance that's used for this purpose. It's called third-party liability. And if the car insurance company denies the claim, it doesn't go to medical. The only way it goes to medical is if it goes to car insurance first and is approved by car insurance, which is again why I will reiterate there is a complex relationship between all of these kinds of insurance, and the discrimination that you're trying to make Destiny, especially between health insurance and car insurance, is just a fallacy.
Wait, what are you talking
made
about?
in your own mind. Third-party liability.
What do you think third-party liability means?
It's a specific term used, again, with the insurance having its own definitions. It's actually a specific branch of insurance companies that's used to interact between the car insurance and medical insurance. It is used because, first and foremost, they are different kinds of insurance. But if the car insurance denies the claim, it does not go to medical. It has to be approved by the car insurance company to go to medical in the first place.
So one, I'm not even sure if that's true, and two, the very easy counter.
Okay, look it up.
Two, the very easy counter. You understand that you're not required to carry like medical insurance for your own accidents, right? So if I get into a car accident and I don't have,
are you
car
making an
insurance,
assumption about my claim?
No,
if you're making
but
an assumption, you can ask me my opinion. I don't understand.
Third-party liability insurance protects you financially if you are held responsible for damages or injuries to another person or their property. It is a type of liability insurance that reimburses the insured party for claims that would not otherwise be able to pay. Huh. That was Google AI. Then hold on down here. We got another answer. Third-party liability insurance is a type of coverage that financially protects you if you're considered responsible for damages or injury to another person or their property. Okay. Huh. Okay.
Understand why you're making an assertion about my claim right now when you can just ask clearly.
Liability, my guess is going to be and I know this is.
I would have guessed. Okay, if you don't even believe my statement that I know is correct, I don't want to hear your guess about it.
Third-party liability.
Oh shit! Destiny's having it out with this bitch.
Based with the fact that you can't make a double.
Probably based on your assumption.
Link me exactly what you're reading, and I will educate you on how absolutely stupid and
you
foolish
can't educate me
I
because
absolutely
you're
will.
wrong.
I can't educate you because you don't know anything about what you're talking about. Go ahead, link me. Link me exactly what you're reading. Go. Link me.
Obviously, we're educated on this.
Before I read what it's saying, my guess is third-party liability tries to avoid two things. One is if you get into an accident where you're clearly like at fault or you've done something bad, or the car insurance company is checked it out and you're not liable at all for a particular thing, and they say there's no injury here. You can't go to a health insurance afterwards and try to get a claim that somebody else already validated. Is like, this is absolute bullshit. Number one. And number two, it's something you can't do double claims. I can't go to my car insurance and say, hey, I got an injury. Can you give me money for it? Oh, and go to your personal insurance and say, hey, can you give me money for this interest? You don't do double claim. That's my guess what third-party liability has to do. Usually you go down a line of liabilities. You're not double claiming. This is the same thing with credit cards and other types of liability insurance as well.
Third-party liability insurance.
Wait, Buckaroo. Look, can I, because you guys are talking past each other. Can I just say?
You're just not listening to me.
We're not talking past each other.
You
just disagree because he doesn't know what he's talking about.
You're going to mute for a moment so I can do this thing, okay? We're going to give it to Soy. It's Soy's turn. You can link Destiny, the appropriate thing, and you guys can have that little back and forth later. But I want to hear Soy's opinion, and he was asking a very interesting question.
Okay, I'll get to the super chat, but I want to say like about you guys. I'll get to that. But the thing that you guys are arguing, like Destiny, you were talking about how the examples we brought up were from auto insurance. It's not applicable to health insurance. I agree. Like it's not one-to-one. What Buckaroo's trying to say is that sometimes the health of people is determined by these companies that do auto insurance. I think that's all she's trying to establish, and that sometimes these bad practices, these examples that we brought up that you said weren't applicable, could be applicable to someone's health. That's it, right? Am I correct?
I do think. Yes, but I do think he understands that. I think he just blatantly misunderstands the concept of third.
No, just let him talk. Don't assume what he's saying.
I don't know why this is not the rule. We're just talking about amazing. He's talking about something
what third-party liability is in the first place. It's like he literally made a whole assumption that it's not even based on that.
You're talking medical policies. Minimum liability coverage, and that's it.
Oh, stop. Zoe, you were asked a question. You should have just answered my goddamn
question. Okay. I don't believe in doing direct harm to the CEO because I believe there's like probably everyone on the opposite side of this debate, but there are lots of things that we can do to make this better. I believe in making the numbers more transparent. I believe we can vote for people that will get single-payer systems. I believe we can put more regulations on hospital costs. So no, I don't think you should go grade the CEO. But the whole point.
Okay, we're to the Q&A area. If y'all want to hear the rest of this debate, go check out Destiny's channel or Wix, I think, is the moderator. Wix, the guy that hosted it.
When you hear music like this,
point of this argument, and the thing we'll never get to because we keep arguing about whether or not the insurance is even doing this, is once we know that if assuming the insurance is doing this, and Professor Bunn has tried to address this several times, then is it justifiable for someone who is suffering under that system to do something about it? And I don't know if we'll ever get that.
But we won't because most people are going to like be very narrow in their agreements there. They're going to be slightly opposed or slightly in favor of. I'm sure that even for Ukerist, as principles he might say he is, as a fucking conservative professor, mustache having motherfucker, I'm sure I could find scenarios where you would argue that it's understandable or maybe even justified to take action against some system that is like horrendously failing you. That if I can show you that police officers are intentionally ignoring 911 calls where you're being murdered or whatever, that there are probably times when vigilantism is not only understood, but maybe even like morally acceptable as a way to further some goal with a system that's clearly broken. But most of our moral arguments are going to take place within the framework of a system that we believe is functioning to some extent. So that's why we have to make the argument for whether the system is functioning or not. Vigilantism is a great thing in tribal societies where there's no court. Vigilantism is a horrible thing in societies where you do have court. Also, you can link in the general for.
All right, well said, Destiny. Okay, we're done with that debate. If you want to see the rest of it, we're I'm caught up to where I saw last night. Yeah, that was that was interesting. Learned a little bit. I have to go look at this the Senate thing that this Soy Pill that this guy brought up. I got to go check that out myself. But from what it sounds like, it's not going to be anything that's, gonna, completely shatter my position or what. I don't really even have a position on this. I mean, I would say no. I mean, obviously, it's not. The Luigi treatment is not the way to go. I don't even support I'm not a big fan. Again, I don't have any positions, cemented in or something. I don't have a real concrete stance on any of this. I'm just having fun. But no, yeah, I'm not a big fan of the fucking death penalty. I'm not going to be a big fan of people just going out to assassinate fucking CEOs or whatever. Do I think it's like, in terms of it being justified and the right thing to do, no, it's a bad thing. Is it probably a good thing that CEOs realize, like, maybe people, if you're going to be a rich millionaire, fucking billionaire CEO, that you need to make your money in a very moral and justified way that people don't feel like you're, fucking them over. I think that's a good wake-up call. I don't know if that's, that I'm not justifying what happened or saying that it's in whole, it's a good thing. I'm just saying there's pros and cons to it. And would I ever suggest that someone assassinates? No. Obviously, it's better if we just have transparency with the insurance companies. I mean, I don't know enough about insurance. But like I was saying the other night, the argument of it being a for-profit thing where you just get people that are actually focused on, okay, we need to, not morally, but legally, we're trying to find out what is the best way to maximize profit. So we come up with whatever algorithm to where we're denying more people coverage and all of this shit like that. What was I getting at? Yeah, I'm too baked for this. I was getting at something. I'm too fucking. Oh fuck! What was I saying? Yeah, I don't remember. Oh well, it's gone. No, yeah, it's whatever. No, we shouldn't just go assassinating people. That's probably not a good idea. It'd be better if we had more transparency. And sorry, that's what I was saying. Sorry, I'm an idiot. I'm back. I'm back at it. I have always since these arguments have come up. Really, the first I ever started thinking about this was back when the fucking Affordable Care Act bullshit started, and I was forced to buy insurance. And I've just been thinking, and I think there are some options like this where it's nonprofit or mainly nonprofit insurance, and or really my idea of what would be probably better is if it was something that's not for profit and more of like a community, like say in my city we have everybody fucking pool money together and whatever fucking medical shit comes up for people, it gets taken out of the pool. And, ideally we could encourage each other to make healthier choices. I wouldn't, I would have issues with, of course, if that were the case, what I'm talking about, like, oh yeah, everybody in Tampa just throws in a few bucks every paycheck and then it goes to cover everybody's medical expenses. And hopefully, if like we had enough places that were like this, the cost would come down because it's not some for-profit game that the insurance companies and fucking the hospitals are fighting over. But even if we did have that, then of course, yeah, I'd be like, oh, I don't want to put my $2 in when you motherfuckers are out there eating McDonald's 5 days a week. That's not even fair. I would have objections, I'm sure. But to me, I just, I get it when we're talking about having the best iPhone and whatever the fuck it's cool. We get the newest and greatest shit because people are just striving for the next new thing, and whatever company is trying to maximize profits. So they got to make a new iPhone with perceivably better stuff and whatever. It's like, does the medical industry really need to be like that to give you the latest and greatest medical treatments and stuff? Does it have to be for profit? I don't think so. Does it possibly make improvements in medical treatments, faster occurring that we have a for-profit system? I don't know all the fucking ins and outs of that, but I would imagine that I think there are enough people that are actually motivated by trying to make positive changes in the world and to the people in their communities and stuff, that it doesn't necessarily have to be a for-profit system to have great treatments come out of it. And again, as I've talked about before, you don't have as much of a necessity for the latest and greatest diabetes treatments. You don't need the latest and greatest Ozempic. Okay, if you actually kind of like take care of yourself and don't eat bullshit. So anyway, that's enough out of me. Let me X this out of here. All right, ladies and gentlemen, thank you guys for hanging with me. I know this might have been a little bit more of a cumbersome night for some people. My numbers haven't been the greatest tonight, but again, we aren't on Facebook. I went to a new platform tonight. We got to inform everybody. We're on Rumble and stuff now. Tell Facebook to go fuck itself. No, but seriously, if I don't get some improving numbers on Rumble, we'll just go back to Facebook. It's whatever. I mean, I get hit with the copyright bullshit. It's all right. I'll fucking we'll make it happen. Anyway, DMS, what's worse, heroin or cocaine? From my experience, I would say opiates. But that's probably, it's from person to person. There's plenty of people, I'm sure, that just wouldn't even if they did it a few times and got a prescription, whatever the fuck, that they would not be addicted to opioids. I've done cocaine a few times and never had the feeling that I would be addicted to it, or like I did it one day and didn't the next day. I didn't wake up being like, maybe I should do more coke today. So maybe it's less or addictive. And I don't fucking know. That's the thing with drugs, though. I mean, we can argue over heroin's 1,000 times worse. We can argue over how the drugs are used in society and stuff. I mean, I'm tempted with my Terrence McKenna training. That I'm tempted to say that it's like they're all just tools, right? All drugs are really they're all tools. So it's just about it's all any positive or negative you get out of it is user error or using it properly, whatever I'm tired. I have no vocabulary right now. But yeah, you get what I'm saying. It's whether or not you use it properly or fucking fuck up your life with it. Hooked for almost 15 years. Yeah, I had a problem with opioids too. I had to use kratom to get off of it, and it was a rough patch in my life there. Tool for dying. Well, dude, but the thing is, that's why I was saying opiates, heroin, street heroin. That's probably no one needs to be doing street heroin. But when it comes to opiates, I mean, there are likely plenty of people that are in enough pain that it's worth being able to have a strong opiate that will at least alleviate some of the pain, so you can get out of bed. But as I've said, those are, I think, most the drugs people take, most of the people taking drugs, it's few and far between that need it to the extent that they think they do. So anyway, we're gonna get down another rabbit hole. But thank you guys for hanging with me. Let me get my homemade royalty-free tracks. I gotta get fucking the Fat Pig's favorite one pulled up. All right, ladies and gentlemen, I will see you guys tomorrow night. We'll get into something different tomorrow night. Wait, tomorrow night is it New Year's Eve? Yeah, tomorrow, right? Yeah. So maybe I don't know if I'm going to be streaming tomorrow night, guys. We'll see. I'm still kind of figuring out my plans. So we'll see about that. But tomorrow, if I do stream, we'll get into something good. I'll say Happy New Year to everyone. You know what? Maybe, guys, if I can get off early enough, maybe I'll come home early. We'll get on. I'll do a call-in show. How about that? Would y'all want to do that? We'll do a call-in show. Everybody can call in, say Happy New Year, tell me their grievances with whatever the fuck. So yeah, we might do that. If I can hop on, we'll do a call-in show. I'll have Facebook and Instagram open. We'll get some people in here. All right, lovers. Thanks for hanging with me. I will see you guys soon enough, possibly tomorrow. Love ya.